Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Chapter 81, 5th Month Sign In, Millions of Troops Set Out. Great Qian began to prepare for war. The time for the expedition to the Pig Demon world was set for 3 days later. The popularity of the entire Great Qian suddenly increased. Countless martial artists rushed to the recruitment office. This call-up is not a formal conscription of non-commissioned officers. Instead, they were recruited by the newly created organization of Great Qian, the Hunter Guild. After all, not all martial artists are suitable for military service, most of them are suitable for individual combat. Martial artists are recruited by the Hunter Guild, issued hunter qualification certificates, and are sent to the front line to fight alone. Great Qian has always implemented distribution according to work, and their military exploits can also be exchanged for merit points. At one time, there were more than tens of millions of people who responded to Great Qian. However, the Hunters Guild has recently issued a rule that only martial artists above the law manifestation realm can go to participate in the war. After all, although the Pig Demon world on the opposite side is not strong, there are still many virtual realms, and the law manifestation realm may even surpass Great Qian. Your realm is too low, you will just be sending yourself to be killed. As for the military, Great Qian has assembled 1 million troops. The 500,000-strong Tianwu army was led by Chen Qingzi, of which 30% were law manifestation, 40% were Dao Palace, and 30% were innate. The 500,000-strong Shenwu army was led by Huo Qubing, of which 30% were law manifestation, 50% were Dao Palace, and 20% were innate. Chen Qingzi and Huo Qubing practiced hard in the secret realm of time for more than a month, and broke through from void refining to empty void perfection, directly breaking through to a major realm. At the same time, Li Yun also arranged all the Dao realms to be sent out. 4 black tortoises at the Dao Asking and Dao Peking realms. He exchanged 2 more supreme-grade vermilion fruits at the Void Trade Fair, and originally wanted to exchange for a few more, but was told that this low-level product was out of stock. So I just gave up. Anyway, those people in the Void Realm will be able to reach the Dao Realm very soon. There are still 2 Dao Realm Masters in the Life and Death Pavilion, but they are not in Qingzhou now, so Li Yun did not transfer them back. Bai Qi is now in Baozhou, and is at a critical moment of breaking through. It is said that Wu Ming met another destined person in Qingzhou and accepted him as a little apprentice. Li Yun did not call him back, so he left him there to intimidate Zhao Qingzhou and the demon-slaying guards. This time, if the Pig Demon Patriarch is difficult to deal with, he is ready to take action himself. He had not yet tested the many divine abilities he had cultivated, so he tried it out on the Pig Demon Patriarch. I hope he can be tougher and last a little longer. 3 days later, 300,000 temporary members of the Hunter Guild had entered the Pig Demon world for 2 days, and countless messages were sent back. Tianmu Mansion also formulated one strategy after another based on this information and conveyed it to the 2 generals who were about to go to the front line. They will develop more detailed operational plans based on these strategies. The Pig Demon world is now in chaos. The influx of 300,000 law manifestations has caused a serious impact on the order of the Pig Demon world. In just 2 days, hundreds of thousands of pig demons died. The 300,000 Great Qian law manifestations were divided into small groups, sneaking into the deep mountains and forests, the streets and alleys, and fighting guerrilla warfare with the enemy's encirclement and suppression army. In the Great Qian Emperor's Palace. Ding! The number of sign-ins for the day has been refreshed. 1 big sign-in and 1 small sign-in. Do you want to sign in? Closing square bracket. The system prompt sounded. Li Yun let out a sigh of relief. It has been 5 months since I came to this world and signed in. The first big signing was for the Jinyue and the first cultivation. It laid a solid foundation for him to get started. The second big signing got me the Saint Weapon and the Spirit Stone manufacturing machine. The Spirit Stone manufacturing machine played a significant role in stealing countless Spirit Stones for him. Although the Great Qian Spirit Qi is now sufficient and a Spirit Vein is gradually taking shape, it is still quite comfortable to use a Spirit Stone that is not your own, isn't it? The third time I drew the lottery, I got the mythical beast Black Tortoise and the 12 zodiac signs. It makes up for the lack of combat power at the middle and high levels. The fourth big signing went to No Name. It is the highest combat power of his Great Qian now. This 5th big signing must at least be a golden legend. Sign in. Ding! Congratulations to the host, signing into divine ability, 1 Qi transforms into 3 purities. Ding! Congratulations to the host, you have signed into the Entrapment Camp, Legion Summoning card. 1 Qi transforms into 3 purities, can split into 3 avatars, each with the same strength as the original body. Shenzhen Camp. A structure of 700 people, all members have completed void refining, 700 people is 1, invincible in the void realm, and able to fight in the Dao realm. A look of joy appeared on Li Yun's face. Not bad. Whether it is the divine ability of 1 Qi transforms into 3 purities or the organization of the 700 trap camps, they are enough to surprise Li Yun. However, this Shenzhen camp will not be used in this expedition. It is only for training. Their main battlefield will be Qingzhou in 3 months. Li Yun temporarily accepted the summoning card, then stood up, took a step forward, and disappeared into the Imperial Palace. Qing'an County. The entrance to the secret realm. Millions of troops have gathered and are ready to go. A crack appeared in the void, and Li Yun appeared in front of the army. Gentlemen, are you willing to expand the territory of Great Qian? Are you willing to follow me and build meritorious deeds for the ages? Are you willing to make the Great Qian prosperous forever? Li Yun was suspended in the air, and his majestic voice reached the millions of troops. I wish to follow your majesty to expand the territory and make the Great Qian Junction a beautiful place. I wish to follow your majesty to the distant lands, to the great rivers and mountains, to the splendor of the world. The deafening sound spread throughout the void, echoing between heaven and earth. The aura of millions of troops gathered together like a raging wave and spread out in all directions. Li Yun showed a satisfied smile on his face. Well, you are all brave. I will be with you in this battle. I will not return until I have conquered this foreign land. As the voice fell, the momentum of the million-strong army rose again and reached its peak. Their eyes revealed determination, persistence and pride. Most of them were soldiers who had fought in hundreds of countries. Each of them had gone through countless trials and tribulations. Great Qian was their belief, and Emperor Qian was the one they swore allegiance to until death. Now that Emperor Qian is personally joining the battle, they will surely fight to the death and give it their all. At this moment, they have only one belief in their hearts, that is, Great Qian will win. Go! Li Yun shouted loudly and waved his right hand. The secret realm passage less than 10 feet ahead was instantly torn apart and expanded dozens of times. Millions of troops rushed in enthusiastically. Until the last person entered, Li Yun's figure also disappeared. The battle to conquer the pig demon world has officially begun. The most central location in the pig demon world. A mountain that reaches the sky stands tall. This mountain has a name, Zuzu Peak. It is the dojo of the pig demon patriarch. The pig demon patriarch is the object of faith for countless pig demons. It was also he who overthrew the rule of the human race 2,000 years ago, and the world here was changed to be named after the pig demon. The pig demons entered their climax period of more than 2,000 years. Zuzu Peak is also regarded as a sacred land by countless pig demons, and they dare not disturb it on normal days. However, today, several powerful pig demon auras appeared at Zuzu Peak. To be precise, these auras appeared 2 days ago. The sudden appearance of hundreds of thousands of Great Qian Law manifestations stunned them. Although 300,000 law manifestations are nothing in the pig demon world, the destructive power they cause is enormous. In addition, the remnants of the previous orc resistance army colluded with them, wreaked havoc, and has shaken the foundations of the pig demon world. More importantly, the origins and backgrounds of those hundreds of thousands of humans are questionable. They haven't figured out where they came from yet. Many Great Qian people also fell into their hands, but they could only find out the 2 words, Great Qian, and nothing else was gained. Even if a soul search yields nothing, every Great Qian has a restriction in their soul, and they will explode and die when a soul search occurs. It made them a little overwhelmed. What they can be sure of is that these people are most likely just the vanguard of the force called Great Qian, and there are definitely more powerful beings behind them, who will soon attack the pig demon world in one fell swoop. So they gathered at Zuzu Peak, hoping that the pig demon patriarch would take action and hoping to find out the truth about the other party's origins. If their strength is average, then they will invade their world and burn, kill and loot. If they are invincible, then we will do our best to destroy their passage to the pig demon world and cut off their reinforcements. Chapter 82. Li Yun takes action and kills the pig demon master in 1 second. A powerful aura rose from Zuzu Peak. There was a sturdy figure among the pig demons, 8 meters tall and about 3 meters wide. Pig demon master. The first time it has appeared in 100 years. Several pig demons immediately fell to their knees. This pig demon patriarch is not a person with a good temper. As soon as he came to power, he massacred millions of human races in one fell swoop. Even those of his own race were killed without mercy. However, only those in the Dao realm know these. In the eyes of those ordinary pig demons, this pig demon ancestor is their savior and the source of their faith. You are a bunch of trash. How long have we handed the world over to you and you've turned it into this? The pig demon ancestor swept a gloomy look over several Taoist pig demons. The hint of murderous intent in his eyes made several pig demons in the Dao realm silent in fear. The pig demon patriarch snorted again and looked towards the southeast. He sensed the presence of many outsiders. They are of the same origin as the group from 2 days ago. In fact, he had sensed the presence of many foreign law manifestation realms 2 days ago. But he had just broken through the Dao fusion realm and had not yet fully adapted. And they are just some law manifestation realms. No matter how many there are, they pose no threat to him. But today is different. There were many enemies today, and he also felt the aura of several Dao realms. However, the aura was not very strong, and for him it was no different from crushing an ant to death. Humph! How dare you, a lowly fellow, invade the pig demon world? Come with me and I will show you what real strength is. What does invincible mean? The pig demon patriarch moved, and his figure disappeared, heading southeast. The remaining pig demons looked at each other and hurried to follow. The pig demon patriarch has spoken. If they don't follow, they will suffer the consequences when they return. The pig demon world, the southeast. The entrance to the secret realm has been guarded by Great Qian's hunters. The natives of the surrounding pig demon world have all been slaughtered. Suddenly, the secret realm passage was torn open, and densely packed soldiers rushed out. Soon, the million-strong army was lined up. The two generals Chen Qingzi and Huo Qubing were about to lead their troops away. Sudden, a gigantic pig's hoof stepped out from the void and stomped towards the army with unimaginable power. It's like the sky is falling. Millions of soldiers all changed color. If this pig's trotter fell down, it would be an unimaginable disaster for them. Zhao Gao and Ji Yuan, two people in the middle stage of the Dao, soared into the sky at the same time and rushed forward with an indomitable momentum. However, before the two men touched the giant pig's hoof, they were knocked down by the huge shock wave. The pig's trotter was only blocked for a moment before being pressed down again. Black tortoise armor. A slow voice came out. In the direction where the pig's trotter was moving, a mysterious space wave occurred, forming a huge air shield. Boom. The pig's trotters and the shield collided with each other, generating a huge energy wave that blew the surrounding space into pieces. The air shield shattered, but all the power of the pig's trotter was also removed. Oh my god, it hurts so much. Damn Dao fusion realm, this little broken world can actually give birth to a Dao fusion realm. Black tortoise cursed. Not bad, you are in the initial stage of peeping into the Dao and can take any attack from me. The next attack will take your life. The voice of the pig demon patriarch came from the void. In this world, I am invincible. Then an even more terrifying aura rose, as if it was serious. Two hooves appeared at the same time. This time, they changed their targets and attacked Black Tortoise. FK your mother, didn't I just block you for a moment? Your Majesty, help me. Black Tortoise looked at the attack coming towards him, cursed loudly, and then suddenly shrank back. If these two blows really hit him, he would at least have broken some skin. Who's claiming to be invincible? Suddenly, a majestic voice echoed between heaven and earth. Although the voice was low, it was full of supreme royal power and domineering, like the whispers of gods, or like God descending to the earth. As the words fell, the two pig trotters of the pig demon ancestor exploded. Then, a tall figure appeared in the void, sitting high on a jade throne, but his specific appearance could not be seen clearly. But the imperial robe and the imperial crown on his head emitted a dazzling light, reflecting countless phantoms of the kingdom of God. Who is hiding his head and showing his tail? The pig demon patriarch revealed his figure, staring at the direction of the shadow with his small eyes, revealing a vigilant look. This person is in the void. Although he cannot clearly feel this person's cultivation level, it is definitely not higher than his. But why did he feel a breath of death from this person? Does this person have the ability to kill him? You said you were invincible here. Li Yun stood up from the throne and his figure appeared. These simple words actually made the pig demon master's hair stand on end. How is that possible? He sensed that this person had only reached the late stage realm. Even though he was not at the top of the pig demon world, how could he feel the crisis of death? Are you the leader of these outsiders? You must give an explanation for invading my pig demon world without any reason. If you retreat now, I will forgive you. The pig demon patriarch was a little lacking in confidence, so he decided to be soft first. As soon as these people retreat, he will destroy the space channel here. As soon as he arrived here, he sensed that the world on the other side of the secret realm was very far away from their pig demon world. If it weren't for this secret realm connecting them, the two worlds would probably not have any intersection even after tens of millions of years. Barbarians from outside the territory, this dirty world needs Great Qian to purify it. You dirty ants, there is no need to survive in this world. Tremble under the sword of Great Qian. Li Yun spoke disdainfully. At this moment, his eyes turned to this world. He saw every dirty scene. When the pig demon patriarch heard this, he became furious. He has dominated this world for more than 2,000 years, and even the once dominant human race has to succumb to his tyranny. Now that we don't even pursue the crimes committed by these people, they actually dare to sharpen their knives and demon race them. This is intolerable. The pig demon's dignity cannot be violated. Human, you have really angered me. I have decided to sentence you to death. The pig demon patriarch also lost his temper and decided to be tough. He really couldn't believe that he, a Dao fusion realm, couldn't defeat someone in the Dao fusion realm. Boom. The heaven and earth shook, and the wind and clouds surged. Roar. The pig demon patriarch roared, and the shadow of a giant pig demon emerged behind him, emitting an extremely terrifying aura, as if it could swallow the sky and the earth. As he howled again, a phantom suddenly rushed out, the space collapsed inch by inch, and attacked towards Li Yun. This is the strongest attack of the pig demon master. The pig changes. The ruler of the human race back then died because of this move of his. Under this blow, even if someone is slightly stronger than him, he will die on the spot. Oh. A cold and disdainful chuckle was heard. I saw a huge golden hand appear out of thin air, with 4 fingers clenched tightly and the index finger pointed forward. A few streaks of light shot out, forming an invisible cage that imprisoned the giant pig demon inside. No matter how hard it hit, the cage did not move at all. Divine ability, sky-trapping finger. Destroy. Li Yun uttered another word, the cage suddenly tightened, the void shattered, and the huge pig demon's phantom shattered. Without even a scream, he completely disappeared from this world. The pig demon patriarch spat out a mouthful of blood, and his whole body became weak, with disbelief in his eyes. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. How could he break his heavenly pig transformation so easily? This phantom holds half of his soul and spiritual power. He can confidently say that it is not inferior to any Dao fusion realm. I never expected that I would be defeated by a person at the Taoist realm. Is this a cheat? This was the last question that came to his mind. The last thing he saw in his life was a finger tapping towards him. And then, there was no more for him. All troops, attack and kill all the pig demons. Li Yun's cold voice spread throughout the millions of troops. This marked the beginning of this bloody massacre. Chapter 83. Saint arrives, the whole city is in turmoil. Without the great power of Dao Fusion Realm, the Pig Demon Patriarch, there is no one in the entire Pig Demon world who can hinder the war. The strongest people in the Pig Demon world are only 2 Dao-seeking realm, and the rest are in the Dao-asking realm. Great Qian's Dao-asking realm people can easily handle it. Especially the black tortoise. Very thick skin and tough flesh. Li Yun doubted whether a garbage Dao Fusion realm like the Pig Demon Patriarch could break his defense. Although the Pig Demon Patriarch has advanced to the Dao Fusion realm, he still belongs to the Dao Fusion realm in a greenhouse. He has been invincible in this world for too long. If he lived in the eastern wilderness, even if Li Yun could defeat him, it would definitely not be so easy. He would need at least one more move. Li Yun did not participate in the rest of the things, but watched coldly from beginning to end. He didn't leave either, because he was still preparing for possible special situations. Li Yun looked up. Yes, what he was guarding against was the natural law of this world. Although this world is a small world, the power of heaven at least has the strength of a saint realm. Great Qian's massive attack has obviously destroyed the ecological balance of this world. If the heavens send down punishment, Great Qian will suffer heavy losses. However, the possibility of Tiandao taking action is not very high. Because although Great Qian has dispatched a large number of people, it is far, far less than that of this world. There is also no one strong enough to surpass the limits that this world can endure. Even in terms of cultivation alone, he is still a step weaker. Great Qian did not come to destroy the world. Although the pig demons are part of this world, so are the human race, the orcs, and every blade of grass and every tree. After Great Qian leaves, this world will prosper again sooner or later. At that time, whether the human race, orcs, or other races rule this world is no longer within Li Yun's consideration. If this world was not far from the 4 extremities, he wouldn't mind taking it over. However, there is a high probability that the 2 worlds are not in the same star domain at all, and the secret realm connecting the 2 will collapse sooner or later. It is currently impossible for Great Qian to cross such a distance to rule the world. That would only weaken your combat power in vain. When Great Qian attacked the Pig Demon world. Qingzhou Windy City. The blacksmith shop in the west of the city welcomed a special and distinguished guest. In the snowy landscape, a middle-aged man in a Confucian robe walked into the blacksmith shop against the wind and snow. The young man who was forging iron in the shop saw someone coming and immediately came over to greet him. What would you like to order, sir? We have all kinds of weapons in our store. The prices are fair and we don't cheat anyone. The young man said enthusiastically. The truth is that his blacksmith shop business is not very good. Because he was born with blocked meridians and had no cultivation, all he forged were mortal weapons. Generally, only people who have just started learning martial arts would come to buy 1 or 2 weapons. Or some people who are good at swords but have no sword Dao talent may buy a sword that looks better as a decoration. Little brother, you go ahead and do your thing. I'll just take a look around. The middle-aged man had a kind look on his face and started strolling around. Yi Guan touched his head, turned around and continued to forge his unformed iron sword. The sledgehammer made a clanging sound as it was swung. Ding, ding, ding. The sound of crashing echoed in the blacksmith shop. After a long time, as if he felt someone was watching him, Yi Guan raised his head and found that the middle-aged man in Confucian clothes was standing beside him without him knowing when. His sight rose and fell with the rise and fall of his sledgehammer. Yi Guan shrank his neck. Why is this person so strange? Little brother, are you going to sell this sword? The middle-aged man in Confucian clothes suddenly spoke. Ah. Yi Guan scratched his head. Sir, my sword has not yet. Before he could finish his words, a blue figure walked into the store. The governor of Jiaozhou is busy with all kinds of affairs. How come he has the time to come to this small blacksmith shop today? Wu Ming said very calmly. Zhao, Mu of Jiaozhou. Yi Guan opened his mouth wide. He never imagined that this kind-looking middle-aged man was actually the famous Zhao Qingzhou in Qingzhou. The ruler of a state, the one who truly stands at the top of the pyramid. Normally, he wouldn't even see people like this from a distance. Today I was able to talk to him face to face. This must be smoke coming out of our ancestral graves. Zhao Qingzhou chuckled. It's not as good as Mr. Wu Ming. After the prodigy meeting, he lived in such an environment for a long time. In the final analysis, it was the governor of the state who neglected it. Yi Guan was shocked. Nameless. Is this the Wu Ming who took Manchung's sword that day when prodigy met him? I heard that everyone else's swords had been returned, but one sword was missing from my blacksmith shop. He thought that old man Wu Ming had made a mistake in the number. Yi Guan, go to the south of the city and buy 2 pieces of tofu from Tofu Chishi's house, and then go to the north of the city and buy a big fish head from Chubo Lake, and make fish head tofu for lunch. Wu Ming said to Yi Guan. Oh. Yi Guan responded and ran out directly. You have a pure nature, suitable for learning swordsmanship, but unfortunately you don't have the talent to practice. After Yi Guan left, Zhao Qingzhou shook his head and sighed. A person who is born with a sword, even a mortal can kill a god. Wu Ming's tone was still very calm. Then he changed the subject. Why did Zhao Mu take so long to come looking for Wu Ming? Does it seem like he is sure he can capture Wu Ming? Zhao Qingzhou gave a bitter smile and then bowed to Wu Ming. Mr. Wu Ming's achievements are comparable to those of the gods. This governor is ashamed of himself. However, Great Qian's origins are unknown. In my Shenfeng territory, we must investigate. Please tell me clearly, what is the purpose of Great Qian's coming into the world this time? If it was just an ordinary sect, it would not matter to Shenfeng. Even with Saint in charge, it is just like the other 6 major sects, occupying a state or just managing its own piece of land. But Great Qian sounds like a dynasty. How can this be tolerated? There were only 2 dynasties in the eastern wilderness, dividing it into the north and the south. If we add a dynasty with a saint in charge, there will be a lot of fun. No matter which dynasty, expanding territory was always the top priority. Which emperor doesn't want to be the ruler of heaven and earth and the only one who is supreme? Even Shenfeng and Chengning never gave up this idea. It's just that neither side is confident enough to defeat the other. Wu Ming is just an insignificant person in Great Qian and does not participate in Great Qian's strategies. The governor is asking the wrong person. Wu Ming shook his head and said. Zhao Qingzu's heart sank slightly. It seems that fists are still the way to speak. 3 powerful auras quietly burst out, locking onto this small blacksmith shop. Demon Slayer Guard, Guard Lord, Ying Wu, middle stage of Rong Dao. Demon Slayer Guard, Chief Instructor, Wang Teng, early stage of Rong Dao. State Governor's Office, State Governor, Zhao Qingzhou, early Rong Dao. Wu Ming sighed and shook his head. Not enough. The 3 of you are quite strong, but at most you can remain undefeated against the Northern Profound Venerable. You can't take my sword, so please ask that senior to come out. Wu Ming turned his gaze towards the north. There was a terrifying aura there, and the heaven and earth seemed unable to bear its weight. Under that aura, all living creatures crawled on the ground, as if they were under the power of heaven. Suddenly, a strong wind blew, the snow melted, and drizzle fell. A long-haired woman walked out from the wind and rain and strolled over. When Saint arrives, the whole city is in turmoil. Chapter 84, Unknown Crisis, The God-Slaying Sword Birth. Pig Demon World. Li Yun's gaze suddenly turned and looked into the void. Then he snorted coldly. It seems that Wu Ming's appearance still alarmed the Shenfeng dynasty. However, if you think that you can control Great Qian by sending out only one saint, then you are underestimating them. Windy City. Time seemed to have stopped. It wasn't until that gorgeous figure with long hair arrived at the blacksmith shop that normal operations resumed. The woman was dressed in white, with a white jade hairpin on her head. Her temperament was as cool and pure as a lotus, and she looked like a fairy from heaven, making one unable to take their eyes off her. She stood there, her clear eyes like the stars in the sky, and seemed to be all things in the world. Greetings, Her Royal Highness the Princess. Zhao Qingzhou bowed. The 2 demon slayers also showed up, looking extremely respectful. Princess Shenfeng, Zhang Yan. One of the 2 saint realms publicly displayed by the Shenfeng dynasty. He is also the supreme leader of the demon-slaying guards. All the demon-slaying guards in various states are under his leadership. In the Shenfeng dynasty, the eldest princess represents supreme power, and her say is even higher than that of the current empress. Zhang Yan's cold eyes fell on Wu Ming and she spoke in a calm tone. Swordsman, that's right. If you join my divine phoenix, you will be allowed to see the emperor without bowing. Your status will be only below that of the Emperor and Saint realm. Saint spoke, leaving no room for doubt. Wu Ming did not say anything, but performed a sword salute, then put his right fingers together, slightly cut through the void, and his figure disappeared. He gave the answer with his actions. The Dao realm took the initiative to challenge the Saint realm. Zhang Yan looked calm, not surprised at all. An unyielding swordsman makes people want to conquer him more. If he accepted the conditions just now, she would look down on him. However, the Saint realm is majestic and cannot be violated. Since she is here, it will certainly not be a wasted trip. After taking this person down, she will find out the location of Great Qian and strangle him in the cradle. Zhang Yan moved slightly and disappeared immediately. The eldest princess's power is really getting stronger and stronger. This guard master is sweating profusely just standing by the side. Ying Wu and the other man walked towards Zhao Qingzhou. This Wu Ming is very strong. What he said is true. The three of us may really not be able to take on his sword. Wang Teng said with a serious expression. This time, the three of them originally planned to take action before the eldest princess arrived to test Wu Ming's quality. We are all prodigy, so who wants to admit that they are weaker than others? The three of them. Zhao Qingzhou is the oldest and is from the same era as Bei Profound Venerable. Ying Wu and Wang Teng were from the same era, both around 800 years old, and had already reached the middle stage of Rong Dao. However, the two of them are not burdened by their fame. Only a few people know how powerful they are. The world knows very little about them. Only Ying Wu, the leader of the Qingzhou Demon Slayer, has a greater reputation. Wang Teng was Ying Wu's closest friend and confidant. He only held an idle position in the demon slaying guard and rarely stayed in the guard. Oh, I hope the princess can take him down. Zhao Qingzhou sighed. Don't worry, the princess has broken through the Saint realm for more than 1,000 years. Her combat power is considered extremely strong in the Saint realm, not to mention that she has the Saint weapon to protect her. If she can't even defeat a Dao realm, she might as well go back to selling sweet potatoes. Ying Wu gave Zhao Qingzhou a reassuring look. Lao Ying, do you want to die? If you want to die, don't take me with you. Wang Teng stared at Ying Wu. This guy made a slip of the tongue and even Saint dared to make up a story. If he were heard, this demon slayer might be finished. In the void. Please. Wu Ming said calmly. Swordsman, this saint has accepted your challenge. I hope you won't let me down. Zhang Yan stood in the air without moving. The surrounding turbulent void flow went around her, isolating a vacuum space. This is the strength of Saint, so terrifying. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Yan raised his hand, and a violent wind and huge waves roared out. Endless divine power rose, shaking the heaven and earth, and the void continued to collapse. As a saint, she actually took the initiative to attack. This tremendous force swept over, but Wu Ming was not afraid at all. Swordsmanship, heavenly sword. An iron sword appeared in Wu Ming's hand, and the iron sword danced lightly, drawing a destructive edge. The sharp sword light cut through the opening heaven and crashed into the roaring huge waves with an extremely terrifying aura. Bang! The sword light shattered, but it was unable to stop the surging wave of spiritual power. Swordsmanship, no distance. The iron sword flew out, and Wu Ming's figure leapt out with it. This sword technique is the fastest in the world, and space cannot limit it in the slightest. It breaks through the raging waves in an instant and pierces Zhang Yan in the void. Zhang Yan raised his right hand slightly, and with 2 fingers, he clamped the tip of a sword that protruded from the void, then exerted a little force and the iron sword shattered. An unknown figure appeared, and an invisible sword condensed out. Swordsmanship, use thoughts as swords. This is the real killer move. Thousands of sword shadows appeared and then converged into a line. Although they were invisible swords, they were comparable to the world's top weapons. They directly broke through the barrier in front of Zhang Yan and penetrated half an inch into his body. But then thousands of sword shadows disappeared at the same time, the nameless figure flew out backwards, and a hint of red appeared at the corner of his mouth. Yes, although you have touched the saint realm, you have not yet become a saint. Otherwise, the result today would be unpredictable. Zhang Yan exclaimed. Nameless has no words. Saint realm is saint realm, which can control the rules of heaven and earth for its own use. It is already invincible to those below saint realm. But, he was fighting against saint realm. Wu Ming's figure flashed and rushed forward again. His whole body was engulfed in sword light. Wherever he passed, the space collapsed, and the universe shook. Swordsmanship, heaven and earth mourn together. Swordsmanship is unique in the world. Swordsmanship, the beginning of the world. Swordsmanship, breaking dawn. Quote. Several earth-shaking sword techniques were swung out from Wu Ming's hands, and each strike carried a destructive force, as if tearing the void into countless pieces. And every counterattack of Zhang Yan was also extremely terrifying. Every move he made carried the power of heaven and earth and blocked every sword move. In just a short moment, the two of them exchanged dozens of moves, and Zhang Yan had the upper hand. Wu Ming's figure flew backwards again. This time, he did not go up again, but stayed where he was. Swordsmanship, myriad swords return to the sect. Wu Ming whispered. In the outside world, in Daifeng City, countless swords whistled out and flew into the sky. A huge black hole appeared in the void, and two figures could be vaguely seen moving in it. It's the swordsman from last time. He's still in Daifeng City. Who is fighting him? Why does his aura feel stronger than his? My sword. I sold my father's coffin to buy this sword. In the void black hole. Countless sharp swords were flying in the sky like a violent storm, and the sword force was like rain, falling towards Zhang Yan. The boundless sword intent seemed to have brought the entire space to a standstill. Zhang Yan's complexion changed slightly. This move has a power far beyond that of an ordinary saint. Not only does she find it difficult to use the power of rules, but even the operation of her own Holy Spirit power is a little obscure. Purple cloud seal, out. A purple seal suddenly appeared, emitting an invisible light that protected Zhang Yan's entire body. Boom. Endless sword intent collided with the purple seal, causing a violent explosion that enveloped everything around it. After a while, the clouds and mist dissipated. Zhang Yan, with a slightly pale face, appeared in the void. She held the purple seal in her hand, but the color had dimmed a bit. Wu Ming smiled sadly. Unexpectedly, this trick didn't win. He still has one more move, but it is a move that will result in mutual destruction. He doesn't want to use it unless it is absolutely necessary. He doesn't really want to die yet. Swordsman, you are very strong. You were almost unable to stop Saint Weapon. If it were any other saint, you might have won. But unfortunately, you met this saint. Zhang Yan said very seriously. This man deserves her respect. So, she planned to give him a more decent death. A trace of spiritual power gathered in her palm, and she was about to make a move. A terrifying blade light suddenly appeared in the void and slashed towards Zhang Yan. At the same time, it was accompanied by a domineering speech. You can also touch this emperor's people. The god-slaying sword, which once slew gods, appears again today. Chapter 85. Cut off Saint's arm. Great Qian becomes famous in eastern wilderness. In the void, Yang's color changed and his figure quickly moved away. At the place where she was originally, a flash of knife light appeared, and the void was annihilated. Then a blood-stained long sword floated in the void, emitting an aura that made her tremble. It wasn't this knife that made Zhang Yan tremble. She could feel that the knife was very powerful, definitely reaching the standard of a mid-level saint weapon. But it won't make me so scared. This is a feeling of fear that comes from deep within the soul. The source was the blood stains on the long sword. It is definitely blood that far exceeds Saint Realm, even surpassing the level of Saint Realm. This knife has killed extremely powerful people. How strong is the person holding this knife? Is this the true essence of Great Qian? Are you the person in charge of Great Qian? I, Shenfeng, do not want to be your enemy, but since a strange force has appeared in my Shenfeng territory, I must investigate its origins. Zhang Yan tried her best to calm herself down and spoke slowly. But Li Yun didn't want to argue with her anymore. With his current strength, it is still difficult for him to control a saint weapon like the god-slaying sword. In addition, since he has to attack from a distance, he can only launch 2 strikes at most. Take the knife. If you can't defeat me, you will die. Li Yun's short and powerful words came from the void. However, it made Zhang Yan's hair stand on end. She didn't know who the person who was speaking was, nor could she tell where he was at all, as if there was countless spaces between them. Zhang. Then there was the sound of a sword, and the sky and earth lost their color, and the sun and moon lost their luster. A huge blood-red rainbow streaked across the sky like a meteor, and came towards Zhang Yan with a pressure that frightened her. Most of her spiritual power was consumed in the battle with Wu Ming. He even suffered some internal injuries when he received Wu Ming's final move. Myriad swords returned to the sect. Even the only low-level saint weapon, the purple cloud seal, was damaged. She had no confidence in taking the knife. Purple cloud seal. Zhang Yan gritted his teeth and summoned the saint weapon again. There was no time to worry about so many things at this moment. Even if saint weapon was destroyed, it would be better than dying in this unknown place. Bang! The terrifying blood-red knife light struck the seal, and a dazzling light burst out instantly. Under Zhang Yan's horrified eyes, the seal shattered with a loud bang, and the fragments turned into streams of light, scattered in all directions, and disappeared into the void. Zhang Yan suddenly felt a sharp pain in his heart, as if someone had cut a piece of his flesh with a blunt blade. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned as pale as paper. This knife was so terrible that even saint weapon couldn't withstand it. However, that was not all. After the seal was broken, the knife light did not stop and rushed straight towards her. Zhang Yan didn't have time to think and moved instantly, but she was too slow. The knife has already come down. An arm flew out and blood gushed out. Fortunately, the knife's force stopped after cutting off an arm. The void split open again, and 3 figures appeared. At this moment, the long sword also disappeared into the void. The visitors were Zhao Qingzhou and his 2 companions. They were originally waiting outside for this one-sided battle to end. However, after waiting for a long time, nothing came, but a long knife that cut through the void. They felt a palpitating breath from the knife. So after some thought, they decided to come in and take a look. Because it involved a battle in Saint Realm, they couldn't see what was going on inside from the outside. As soon as they came in, they saw the long sword hitting the eldest princess. Then, an arm flew towards them and the sword disappeared. Princess, are you okay? Several people looked solemn, having never expected the situation to be like this. The princess of Saint Realm, who originally thought she would win, actually lost, and lost miserably. They could of course see that although Wuming was watching from the sidelines, he no longer had the strength to take action. It was definitely not the long sword he was controlling, and he was clearly using a sword. So, the eldest princess was defeated by a sword. Or did the other party not even show his face and just cut off the eldest princess's arm with one knife? Zhang Yan spat out a mouthful of blood again. If you reach the Saint Realm, you can regenerate a broken arm, it just consumes a few resources. Zhang Yan didn't care much about these things. What she cared about was that she had lost face today. Not only that, the fact that Great Qian actually has someone with such fighting power is not a good thing for Shen Feng. It's not a good thing for Eastern Wilderness either. Let's go. Zhang Yan stopped the bleeding on his shoulder and said weakly. Wuming was right across from them, and they could definitely take him down with the strength of 3 people, but she didn't know whether the strong man with the knife had left or not, so she didn't dare to gamble. The other party has already spared her life, so she cannot expect him to spare her life again. Zhao Qingzhou and the other 2 didn't dare to say anything more. They supported Zhang Yan and disappeared into the void. Wuming never spoke a word, just watched quietly. After everyone left, Wuming looked into the void and murmured, "Your Majesty is truly unfathomable. His cultivation is obviously not high, yet he can actually kill Saint Realm." Then Wuming also disappeared and appeared in the blacksmith shop in Dafeng City. Even after such a big thing happened, he still did not leave Dafeng City. If he wanted to leave, Saint couldn't keep him. Even though he is now low on health. Pig Demon World. A long sword appeared and was taken back into the system space by Li Yun. A trace of golden blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth. He threw a pill emitting a fragrant aroma into his mouth. The 2 attacks just now had consumed a lot of his energy. After all, it is not something that ordinary people can do to forcibly control a mid-level saint weapon to fight against a saint at the Dao Dao realm. Only he, with his profound background and numerous treasures, could barely do it. Even these 2 attacks consumed a huge amount of his resources. He swallowed several saint-level pills. If all of his spirit chi had not been injected into the god-slaying sword, he would have been sucked to pieces. However, after this battle, no one would dare to provoke Great Qian easily. Moreover, after this battle with Saint Realm, Wuming should be not far from taking that step. Eastern Wilderness. I don't know why. The news that Princess Shenfeng suffered a crushing defeat in Qingzhou and had her arm cut off by a single sword had actually spread. For a time, the popularity even overshadowed the Dragon Gate meeting that was about to be held by the Shengxian sect. Princess, that's the Saint Realm. Moreover, he is one of the best in Saint Realm. At the same time, she is also a woman, a beautiful woman. In her time, she had countless suitors. Even now, Zhang Yan, who is over 2,000 years old, still has a huge number of fans in Eastern Wilderness. But there are not many people who can catch her eye. But this did not stop some old guys who were in love from being outraged. Who the hell is Great Qian? How dare he blaspheme the goddess? Are you going to form a team? The goddess Zhang Guard is officially established. Those who join will pay 300 middle-level spirit stones. Many sects and forces also began to pay attention to the remote state of Qingzhou. After all, there are only a few saint forces in the entire Eastern Wilderness. Every additional one may cause a huge chain reaction. Of course, more forces still warned their disciples that there was a new force in the Eastern Wilderness that should not be provoked. If you meet someone, make friends with them if you can, and avoid them if you can't. In short, don't make enemies. If you make an enemy, don't report it to your own sect. Don't even go back to the sect to seek refuge. Because the moment you make enemies, you have been expelled from the sect. Going back to the sect would just be walking into a trap. Chapter 86, Divine Phoenix Reaction, Taishu Saint Emperor. Divine Phoenix Dynasty. There was a huge controversy because of the eldest princess's injury. There is no dispute about whether to take revenge, but there is controversy about when to take revenge. The court was therefore divided into 2 camps. A large-scale debate competition was held. The affirmative side believes that revenge should be taken and should be taken immediately. He who does not seek revenge is not a gentleman. A gentleman does not take revenge overnight. The eldest princess represents the face of the divine phoenix. Now that the eldest princess has been humiliated, if she does not take revenge, where is the dignity of saint? Where is the dignity of the divine phoenix dynasty? How can we discipline the people of the states? How will the various forces and the Changning Empire view this? The opposing side also believes that revenge should be taken, but not now. It is never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Firstly, Shenfeng had just formulated a national policy some time ago and was preparing to rectify the many sects in the country, especially the three major sects, which had a very high opinion of themselves and regarded the majesty of the royal family as nothing. The sudden convening of the Dragon Gate meeting by the Shungshan sect may not be an attempt to show off their skills to the dynasty. Secondly, the Changning Empire has never given up its desire to destroy the Divine Phoenix, but it has never found a good opportunity, a chance to weaken the Divine Phoenix. This time, the Changning Empire will definitely take advantage of the opportunity to add fuel to the fire. It is possible that the news of the princess's humiliation spread throughout the eastern wilderness through the Changning Empire. It was to provoke the Divine Phoenix, engage in a fierce battle with Great Qian, and weaken the Divine Phoenix's power with the help of Great Qian. Thirdly, the strength of Great Qian is unknown, and there are several Dao Realm masters on the surface. There is also a sword cultivator named Wuming who is not inferior to Saint Realm. There is also a Saint Realm in the dark whose specific strength is unknown. He broke the Saint weapon with one sword and cut off the eldest princess's arm without showing up. Such strength is worthy of the attention of Shenfeng. To sum up, if there is a dispute with Great Qian, even if Shenfeng wins, it can only be a miserable victory. Shenfeng dynasty will definitely suffer heavy losses under the counterattack of two powerful Saint realms, and the gain will not make up for the loss. What's more, now they don't know the true strength of Great Qian at all. If there is a hidden Saint realm, wouldn't that be shooting themselves in the foot? Both sides said that they were right, and the situation was deadlocked. In the end, the eldest princess showed up in person and suppressed the matter for the time being. Everything will be discussed after the Holy Heaven Sect Dragon Gate meeting. The matter was shelved. The eastern wilderness, especially the many states of the Divine Phoenix dynasty, are waiting for the Divine Phoenix's counterattack. But I didn't expect that 3 days would pass. The Divine Phoenix dynasty did not react at all, as if it had forgotten about the matter. People's memories are always shallow and short-lived, and soon the enthusiasm was overshadowed by the Dragon Gate meeting of Shungshan sect more than 2 months later. People from more distant states have already set out, otherwise if they were delayed on the road, they would not be able to arrive in 2 months. This kind of transcendent level sect's grand event will be participated in by other transcendent level sects and the 2 great dynasties. No one wants to miss this event that takes place across the 36 states of the eastern wilderness. If you can witness such a grand scene, your life will be worthwhile. Monster State. The topography of the Monster State is different from that of other states in the eastern wilderness. The entire state is surrounded by mountains. Only a small part of the plain. The powerful monster race basically takes place deep in the mountains. There are less than 10 cities in the Monster State, and most of them are monster race. It can be said that there are very few human races in the entire Monster State. The human race that appeared in the Monster State were either highly skilled in cultivation or no monster dared to provoke them. Or they could be a caravan doing business, walking on the edge of a knife, praying that they won't run into the brutal and bloodthirsty monster race masters. Vast mountains. The largest mountain range in Yaozhou occupies 70% of the territory of Yaozhou. Fang Zhang's figure appeared in the middle level of the vast mountains. Mr. Mu, are you sure there is really a space node here? You didn't forget it, did you? Fang Xiang looked around slyly and said weakly. This area is indeed quite dangerous now, and we are almost entering the inner layer of the mountains. If you're not careful, you might end up entering the territory of some old monster. When the time comes, just roast it and eat it. The Kangmang Mountains are divided into outer, middle, inner and core areas. The further inward you go, the better the environment, the stronger the spirit chi, and the stronger the monster race of life. Those involved in peripheral activities are usually small demons in the law manifestation realm and below. The middle level is mostly occupied by great monsters from the virtual world. The inner layer is the territory of the Monster King in the Dao realm. The core area is the smallest and is the territory of Monster Saint. Given his current position, he might accidentally run into some Dao realm monster kings who couldn't grab any territory in the inner layer. It's been too long, and I don't remember it clearly. When the master was looking for that person, he found the secret realm here and went in to explore. Look for it again, it should be nearby. Mu Lao's voice rang in Fang Zhang's ears. Oh, by the way, Master Mu, Master was so powerful back then, who could have killed him? What realm was he in? Fang Xiang asked doubtfully. Ever since the ring appeared in his hand, Mu Lao said that he was the most suitable person to inherit the master's inheritance, but apart from giving him some secret treasures and inherited skills, he did not tell him any information about the master. Mu Lao was silent for a moment. Then he said in a deep voice, the master was not killed by anyone, but was defeated by time. The master is not from the eastern wilderness, but came across the border from the western territory. Fang Xiang was suddenly shocked. He is no longer the ignorant boy he was in the land of 100 nations. Although the Four Extremities continent is known to the world, no one knows what the world outside the eastern wilderness is like. Not even the Saint Realm can swim across the sea of nothingness that surrounds the entire eastern wilderness. But Mu Lao actually said that Master came across the border from the Western Territory. How did he come to the eastern wilderness? Could it be that he has surpassed the Saint Realm and ascended to the throne of God? Mr. Mu did not give Fang Xiong time to ask questions and continued speaking. The Master is the most powerful talent in the history of the Western Territory. He entered the void at the age of 15, entered the Tao at the age of 24, and became a saint at the age of 100. He is known as the number one person in the Western Territory. After another 3,000 years, the Master's cultivation has reached the peak of the Saint Realm and he wants to climb to the divine position. However, the Master finds that the divine path has been cut off. No matter what, he cannot ignite the divine fire and ascend to the divine realm. It is suspected that it is due to the separation of the four extremities. The Western Territory cannot bear the birth of the divine realm. Only the four extremities can unite. But, the Master is not a god after all. He has spent thousands of years traveling all over the Western Territory but still cannot find a way to combine the four extremities. This is something that God has done. How can human power make up for it? The Master thought of the God realm that was born last time in the four extremities, so he crossed the sea of nothingness and went to the eastern wilderness to find out if that God realm had any remains that might help him break through to the God realm. But the sea of nothingness is extremely dangerous. Even with the Saint Emperor's ability, it is difficult to cross the sea of nothingness. The chaotic rules and countless space wormholes have caused the Master a lot of suffering, and his life has been on the line many times. The Master finally survived. He could already feel the breath of the eastern wilderness. But things did not go as planned. The Master fell into a time wormhole and struggled for 90,000 years before he was able to break free. Fortunately, when the Master came out, he found that he had entered the eastern wilderness. Unfortunately, the Master's lifespan had ended. The Saint Emperor could live for 100,000 years, but he wasted 90,000 years. The Master has spent the last 10 years finding a trace of God's aura, which is in the land of 100 nations. But it is too late. The last task that the Master has given me is to find him a good disciple who can help him see the scenery that belongs only to God in the starry sky. Fang Xiong was silent. Fate is a fickle thing, and God is jealous of talented people. People like Master were destined to soar into the sky and traverse the stars, but they were trapped in the tiny Western Territory. He was given a glimmer of hope at the moment of his death, but it was defeated by time. Remember your Master's name, the King of the Western Territory, Saint Emperor Taishu, Ji Taishu. Chapter 87. Fang Xiong breaks into the demon state. Bai Qi and his apprentice both break through. Taishu Saint Emperor. Ji Taishu. Only then did Fang Xiong know the name of his master. Just by listening to the name, you know that he must be very brave. It must be true. At the same time, he also kept this name deeply in his mind. I secretly vowed that in the future I would carry out my master's unfulfilled wishes, walk out of the four extremities and step into the starry sky. Originally, he wouldn't have the confidence. However, Great Qian gave him the confidence. Especially their mysterious majesty, who will surely dominate the starry sky and be feared by all in the future. As a member of Great Qian, and a small senior executive at that, it shouldn't be a problem for me to take a ride. A monster is coming. Just when Fang Xiong was still daydreaming, Mu Lao's reminder sounded. Fang was so frightened that he tried to hide his breath quickly. He is now at the monster race base camp and cannot be discovered. Less than 5 miles away from him, a team of more than 100 monster races of various shapes appeared there. Judging from their positions and physical features, it should be a 5-party monster race, with more than 20 people on each side. Moreover, this group of monster races are all great monsters from the virtual world. Even the leading few have reached the state of Hexu. Fang Xiong was shocked. What did these monsters want to do by gathering together? He crept a little closer. I want to hear what they are saying. Old B************************************ D. Last time it was your tiger clan that took first place, this time, my eagle clan wants the first place. A middle-aged man with a hooked nose stood up, with a gleam in his eagle eyes, and spoke to the middle-aged man in the black and white coat opposite him. Old monster eagle, aren't you afraid that the strong wind will blow away your tongue? With just those 3 or 2 little eagles of yours, don't let all your sons be killed in them like last year. The middle-aged man in the black and white coat sneered. I have plenty of sons. Even if I lose 10 a year, I can still afford it. I can lose them for hundreds of years and still have the next batch. Okay, what's the point of arguing? If you have the guts, take action. What's the point of just talking? An old man in gray clothes next to them said something, and the two of them dared not say anything. It is the patriarch of the giant Earth Bear clan here, and its strength is undoubtedly number 1 among them. Although he is old and has a bad temper, he is also very strong. He is very fierce when fighting and can easily take on 2 of them by himself. There are 2 other parties, one is the Green Snake clan, and the other is the Earth Dog clan. Boy, we are in trouble. If I remember correctly, the secret realm seems to be where they are. It seems that they have discovered the location of the secret realm a long time ago. Mu Lao said in a deep voice. If there were only a few monster races, it would not be impossible for Fang Xiang to wipe them out here with his strength. But now there are 5 hexu, more than 20 empty void, and the rest are in the void refining realm. What the hell can we do? 10 lives are not enough. Mr. Mu, are you sure that we can't enter this secret realm? Fang Xiang said in a deep voice. It is certain that the space there cannot withstand the hexu realm, otherwise it will collapse. Only those below the hexu realm can enter. Why, are you trying to sneak in? There are 5 hexu guarding this place. Mu Lao said in surprise. This kid's combat power isn't yet at the level to compete with hexu. Fang Xiang said calmly, we'll see what happens later. If what you said is true, I'll give it a try. This time I'll definitely break through the empty void. It's not impossible that I can even reach the state of perfection in the empty void. At that time, let alone 5 hexu, even if there were 50 hexu, we would still be able to escape. Mu Lao, you are so powerful, I thought you said you could take down 50 hexu. My thumbs are about to go up. At this time, there was movement over there at Monster Race. Several hexu exerted their strength at the same time and shot a stream of spiritual power towards a certain direction ahead, and suddenly a light gate appeared. Boys, go in. I will be waiting for your triumphant return in a month. Sons, go ahead and spread the seeds of my eagle clan. If all the demons don't break through a small realm in a month, I will expel you from the clan. Several teams all rushed in instantly, and only a few hexu and a dozen followers were still outside. Damn it, I couldn't find it because these old guys hid it together. Damn it, did Grandpa Mu agree to it? Mu Lao's angry voice came from the ring. Fang Xiang stood still, staring at the several great monsters in front of him. Just when several great monsters were about to hide the entrance again, Fang Xiang moved, and his figure suddenly disappeared from the spot. A figure whooshed into the secret realm from the light gate that was about to close. Several hexu didn't react at all. Not to mention the even weaker followers behind. Huh, did a big black rat fly in just now? A local dog follower at the back said with eyes wide open. You have dog eyes, this is obviously a human being. A member of the Eagle tribe also said while staring at Eagle eyes. The Tiger clan leader cursed. FK, where did this human race come from? Are you so bold? Old man, I'm not talking about you. Looking at the look in the gray-clothed old bear's eyes, the Tiger tribe leader smiled awkwardly. It's okay, it's just a void refining late stage. White dog, can't your tribe be telepathic? Tell the dog inside to pass the message to the 5 tribes and kill this human. The old gray bear looked at the chief of the native dog tribe and spoke calmly. The black-skinned chief of the local dogs cursed in his heart, but his face was still filled with a smile. Okay. Eastern wilderness. On top of a mountain. Bai Sha is fighting a giant wolf in the middle stage of void refining. As the number 1 in the law manifestation realm of Qingzhou Prodigy, he was accepted as a disciple by Bai Qi. And was given the surname Bai. Then Bai Qi led him to kill all the way, and now they were only one step away from the void refining realm. Bai Qi was sitting cross-legged on a mountain in the distance and didn't even look over here. As his disciple, if he can't even fight against opponents of a higher level, then dying in battle is his fate. At this moment, the cracks on Bai Qi's body have become more and more serious, and have spread to his face. If I don't curb the spirit Qi raging in my body, I'm afraid I won't be alive for many days. However, his aura at this time was a bit stronger than before. It is just one step away from reaching the realm of Tao. The realm of Tao is to understand oneself and find the path that belongs to you. Taking this step, you have reached the realm of Tao. Bai Qi's path is the path of killing, which is the path he had chosen when he was in the virtual realm. Bang bang. This is the sound of a heartbeat, coming from Bai Qi. It grew louder and louder, covering the space around it. And with this heartbeat rhythm, the originally very agitated spirit Qi in Bai Qi's body gradually stabilized. Click, click. It sounded like an eggshell breaking. As the voice fell, Bai Qi's eyes suddenly opened, 2 red rays of light flashed, the space trembled, and murderous intent raged. The cracks on his body faded away at a speed visible to the naked eye, and his skin became even more delicate and lustrous than before. A breath of Tao rhyme naturally emerged, lingering around the body like a materialized mist, enveloping it. At this moment, Bai Qi broke through to the realm of asking for the way. At the same time, on another mountain peak, a giant wolf fell down with a howl. Bai Sha also broke through and entered void refining. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 88. The Palace Examination begins, the 5th Kangsheng. Pig Demon World. It has been nearly a month since Great Qian's march. Without the supreme faith of the Pig Demon Grandmaster, the Pig Demons were defeated by the Great Qian million-strong army. The Great Qian soldiers were murderous when facing the Pig Demon and killed it without mercy. Especially after knowing what happened to the human race in this world, he became even more excited to kill. Within a month, blood flowed like a river and corpses were everywhere. As many as 80% of the Pig Demons were eliminated. Only 1 million or so were left, retreating to Zuzu Peak, waiting for the final decisive battle. Great Qian's million soldiers also lost as many as 100,000. However, under this high-intensity fight, 80% of them have broken through the law manifestation, and the rest have also broken through the Dao Palace realm. Some of them have successfully entered the virtual realm. Chen Qingzi and Huo Qubing both broke through the Hexu realm. With the support of hundreds of thousands of troops, their combat power could be raised to several levels. Li Yun left half a month ago. After waiting for half a month, he left after confirming that this heavenly Dao had no intention of descending. Because Great Qian is preparing for a more important festival. 10 days later, it will be New Year. This is his 6th month in this world. In the middle of the year, he ascended the throne and unified Great Qian in 2 months. The reign title was changed to the first year of the Qianyan calendar. This new year is the first new year for many people of Great Qian. He will bless his people and the whole world will celebrate. There is one more thing. Because of the attack on the pig demon world, he adjusted the date of the Imperial examination to December 20th. That is, today. Qian Do. All officials gathered in the Golden Palace. The majesty of the emperor sitting high on the dragon throne made all the ministers lower their heads, remain silent, and even try to slow down their breathing. No one dared to say a word before his majesty opened his mouth. Let's get started, Li Yun said lightly. As he finished speaking, the ministers below left the hall, and 180 elites who had been carefully selected from various counties entered the hall one after another and took their seats one by one. Because of the first year of the imperial examination, Li Yun did not limit the age of the candidates. As long as one could still breathe, one could take the imperial examination. If one made it into the top 5 in the county examination and had the idea of taking the palace examination, he would be carried into the Golden Throne Hall to take part in the examination even if he had to be carried. Therefore, half of the 180 people are old men with gray hair. There are only 20 to 30 young people in their 20s and 30s. Of course, these young people can stand out among the many experienced old guys who have read books for most of their lives. I think they must have some skills. The chief minister of the cabinet, Li Linfu, stepped out. Your Majesty, all candidates have entered the examination room and are ready. Your Majesty, please give the questions. Li Yun nodded and looked at the 180 candidates below. Today's palace examination topic is, Untitled. You have 3 hours to answer. After you finish, I will personally grade the papers on the spot. For the top 3 on the list, I will personally give them the initiation, their cultivation will enter the realm of emptiness, and they will be granted the title of third-grade official. The winner of the list will be protected by the Golden Dragon of Luck, and will travel around Great Qian and be praised by all people. The rest will all be rewarded. Boom. As soon as Li Yun finished speaking, the officials waiting outside the hall suddenly became lively. Step to success. 1 movie to reach the sky. There are only a dozen or so second-grade officials in Great Qian. And after this palace examination, they were directly awarded the third-grade official position. Isn't that a step too far for them? Moreover, the person who ranks first on the list must tour Great Qian in the name of the top scholar, with a golden dragon protecting him. This is the top scholar selected from billions of people. After touring Great Qian, his reputation may reach the sky. This is the real overnight success. Even the more than 180 candidates were yearning for it. If they could get the top spot, it would bring honor to their family. The family tree has to be rewritten starting with his name. But what the hell is this question? No title. Is it on the first level, literally, no title? Free to play? Or is it on the second level, which seems to have no title but actually has a title? So what is the question? Or is it on the third floor, seemingly untitled, but actually untitled? At one time, there were hundreds of people and hundreds of attitudes. Some people pick up their pens, some ponder, some are downcast, some are frowning. 3 hours later, 180 answer sheets were collected. During this period, no strange phenomena occurred in heaven or earth. The person who wrote the most filled up 36 pages. He wrote 36 sheets, not because he could only write 36 sheets, but because Great Qian only prepared 36 sheets for each candidate. The person who wrote the least only wrote on one piece of paper with only 3 words on it, his name. Yi Yinlong. Yi Yinlong. What a nice name. Why did you leave the paper blank? After reading all the answer sheets, Li Yun turned his gaze to the audience and looked at the person in the middle. This man was thin, wearing a white robe, and had a handsome face. He looked gentle and elegant, and had the air of a scholar. Yi Yinlong stood up leisurely, and said respectfully and confidently, Your Majesty asked the question, no title, and I answered, no words, which should be in line with the meaning of the question. Li Yun nodded, then picked up the pen and decided on his ranking, 180th. A eunuch nearby hurriedly announced, Yi Yinlong, 180 people in the palace examination. Yi Yinlong. Shit. It's smashed. All the candidates looked at this person with pity. I told you not to show off. Do you really think you are on the third floor? Yi Yinlong sat down dejectedly, his eyes dull, and he wished he could slap himself twice. Damn, I am so superficial. I originally thought I had guessed the Emperor's thoughts and that I would definitely be the top scorer. I didn't expect that the clown was actually me. The hall was then extremely quiet, and all the candidates held their breath. There was only the sound of Li Yun's continuous writing and the old eunuch announcing the rankings. The candidates all prayed that their names would not be called. The later your name appears, the higher your ranking. The chances of having a separate family tree in the future will be greater. Zhang Xingxie, your handwriting is good, and your policy essays are also acceptable. 163rd. Superstar, the strategy of governing the country and educating the people is feasible, but the vision is not enough, there are many omissions, and it ranks 62nd. Saralang, on the sustainable development of Great Qian, it is good. It has been submitted to the cabinet for review and ranks 32nd. Chu He, Great Qian's three-step strategic plan, can be submitted to the cabinet for review, ranked 11th. Xu Xing, food is the first necessity of the people, and Great Qian is based on the people. Good, ranked 7th. Zhao Kuo, the 36 strategies of military affairs, ranks 3rd. Jia Yu, the code of laws has 36 articles, very good, ranked 2nd. 179 people were announced one after another, but the name of the last person was not announced yet. Everyone's eyes were focused on the dark-skinned candidate sitting at the last seat in the hall. Li Yun also stared at him, and then spoke in a deep voice. The fifth common people, on Great Qian, on Eastern Wilderness, on Four Extremities, on the Starry Sky, on Common People. First place in the palace examination. This volume will not be made public and will be sealed in the cabinet. Chapter 89, Heavenly Tao Seeks Refuge, the top scholar visits Qian. The first year of the Qianyan calendar. December 20th. With the announcement of the palace examination rankings, the first imperial examination of Great Qian officially ended. The ranking of 180 people began to spread to the counties. It is undeniable that even Yi Yinlong, who is ranked 180th, has wisdom and talents far beyond others. Except for the top 10 in the palace examination and 20 people with unique talents who are given important positions by the court, the remaining 150 people will be demoted to various counties. However, the imperial court would try its best to respect their wishes and assign them to the counties of their choice. Therefore, the governors of the 36 counties also tried every means to bring these people to their counties. He even gave away concubines and daughters. If these people can become successful or make great achievements in the future, their status as county magistrates will also rise with them, and there is a possibility that they will be able to make further progress. The 27 people outside the top 3 have been divided up, and half of them have entered the cabinet. Zhao Kuo, who was ranked 3rd on the list, received the emperor's initiation, entered the realm of emptiness in one step, and was appointed as the Minister of War, ranking 3rd grade. The second on the list, Jia Yu, received the emperor's initiation, entered the realm of emptiness in one step, and was granted the position of Vice Minister of the Ministry of Justice, holding the 3rd grade official position. The fifth person on the list, Kang Sheng, was summoned by the emperor. A day had passed and no news came out. Deep in the palace, Li Yun sat high on the dragon throne, tapping his index finger continuously, his eyes fixed on the fifth person below. The young man below was wearing coarse linen clothes, his skin was dark, and his figure was a little thin, but his eyes were bright and he was not affected by Li Yun's momentum at all. In his eyes, all beings are equal. Should I call you the fifth common man, or, the four extremities heavenly Tao? Li Yun spoke slowly, a hint of caution in his voice. He felt something was wrong with this man when the palace examination began. He felt a sense of familiarity with him. It seemed like I had felt his presence somewhere before. But somehow I just can't grasp this feeling. Until I saw his answer sheet. He suddenly thought of the divine thought that was still waiting for him in the plains of the fallen gods. There is actually a sense of common origin between him and this person. The fifth person smiled slightly. Your Majesty, the way of heaven is dead. If the four extremities do not unite, there will never be a new way of heaven. Li Yun said in a deep voice, you are formed by the thoughts of all living beings. When the four extremities unified harmony, that is when you will become the new heavenly Tao. Am I right? Your Majesty is right. Then why did you appear in Great Qian and participate in the Great Qian Imperial examination? The fifth person sighed. Your Majesty is the only person in the current four extremities that I cannot see through. You are also the one who has the greatest hope of uniting the four extremities. I am here to seek refuge with your Majesty in order to speed up this process. But to be honest, I have been here for 100,000 years. Originally, I was waiting for the return of the only God in the four extremities, but I didn't expect to meet His Majesty first. Li Yun did not say more on this topic, but asked. Can you tell me about the cause of the fall of the previous heavenly Tao, and the split of the four extremities 100,000 years ago? The fifth Kang Sheng's expression remained unchanged, as if everything in the world was insignificant to him. 400,000 years ago, a god suddenly appeared outside the four extremities world. Without a word, he wanted to break into the four extremities. As the heavenly Tao of the four extremities, he would naturally not allow him to enter. This was enough to destroy the existence of the four extremities. The two sides started a fierce battle, which lasted for 3 months. Your Majesty should be able to guess the final result. Both sides perished. During the battle, a drop of divine blood mixed with a wisp of heavens will fell into the four extremities, and form the falling god plane. The gods can die, but the world will not perish, and the way of heaven will not be destroyed. After hundreds of thousands of years of absorbing the thoughts of all living beings, the new way of heaven is about to take shape, but there is one step left. Another god has come across the galaxy and wants to destroy the four extremities. The new heavenly Tao wants to stop it, but it has not yet become the heavenly Tao. It is vulnerable in front of God. But in the end, for some unknown reason, that God Realm Master gave up the idea of destroying the world and used his divine power to separate the four extremities. He then sat in the starry sky and overlooked the four extremities for 30,000 years. 70,000 years ago, a common sword came across space and beheaded this god in the starry sky. When he said this, there was a slight fluctuation in the eyes of the fifth Kangshung. Killing a god with an ordinary sword is unimaginable even if it is the new heavenly Tao. Li Yun listened the entire time without saying a word. He now finally knows the biggest secret of the four extremities world. That ordinary sword was also the god-slaying sword in his hand. Li Yun asked again, can you cross the sea of nothingness from the eastern wilderness to the other poles? The fifth person nodded. Yes, I was born from the thoughts of the common people. The other extremes are naturally considered the common people of the four extremities. All living beings are the way of heaven, and all living beings are the fifth common people. Originally, there was a saint realm master in the Western Territory. If the four extremities were not distinguished, he would have had the greatest hope of becoming a god realm master. Unfortunately, an accident occurred when he crossed the sea to the east, wasting 90,000 years. Otherwise, if he had arrived here earlier, it would not be impossible for him to enter the god realm. Li Yun frowned. He thought of Fang Zhang's inheritance. No wonder this guy is so lucky. You are the way of heaven. If you join Great Qian, you have to be subordinate to this emperor. Doesn't that go against your conscience? Li Yun said suddenly. The fifth person shook his head. The world is divided into big and small, and the way of heaven is also divided into different levels. The world will never be promoted because of the way of heaven, but the world will be promoted because of the birth of the strongest. This is also an opportunity of the way of heaven. The universe, the starry sky myriad races, the heavenly Tao is just a drop in the ocean. It can also be said that the heavenly Tao is just a part of the starry sky myriad races. In front of ordinary people, the way of heaven is high above, overlooking the world. In front of those powerful races, the heavenly Tao is as humble as an ant. Li Yun raised his eyebrows. This is the first time I've heard of this. I used to think that the way of heaven is fair, that there are no emotions or desires, and that it only maintains the normal operation of the world according to the rules. It turns out that they also have selfish desires, joys and sorrows, and things they want to pursue. It's just that it's not something ordinary people can access. Okay. From today on, I will build the Tiandao Pavilion, and you will be the pavilion master of this Tiandao Pavilion. In the future, I will set foot in the starry sky and conquer thousands of worlds, and all the heavenly ways will be under your jurisdiction. Now, go and meet the gaze and admiration of the people of Great Qian. Li Yun rolled up his sleeves, boundless luck condensed out, and the golden dragon of luck circled above his head. He didn't care whether what this person said was true or not. As long as he was in Great Qian for one day, he could kill all enemies. The fifth person leaned forward slightly. The golden dragon of luck flew, carried him on its back, and flew out of the hall. A brilliant golden light burst out from the Qiandu Imperial Palace. Then it enveloped the entire Qiandu. Spiritual rain poured down, and countless people of Qiandu took to the streets, bathing in the rain and welcoming the blessing of the top scholar. A quarter of an hour later, the golden dragon left and toured the 36 counties of Great Qian. 36 champion reigns, great millions of people break through. Chapter 90. Returning triumphantly, Li Yun prepared a great gift for all the people of Great Qian. The top scholar's inspection of Great Qian lasted 3 days. The Grand Imperial examination finally came to an end. But public enthusiasm remains high. In particular, the name of the fifth Kangshung has reached the point where everyone in the Great Qian knows it. For a time, his popularity was second only to that of the emperor. However, after returning, the fifth Kangshung disappeared without a trace, and even the officials of Great Qian didn't know where he went. I only know that your majesty built a new pavilion, named it Heavenly Tao, and appointed the fifth Kangshung as the pavilion master. But they don't know the specific responsibilities of the Tiandao pavilion, which seems very mysterious. At the same time, everything started to get lively. The 300,000 law manifestation hunters who went to the pig demon world have returned. Apart from the tens of thousands of lives they lost in the early stages, there was basically no loss after the late stage Great Qian army entered. However, their merit points were also accumulated in the early stages. The majority of the revenue was taken up by the millions of soldiers. Even though their cultivation level is high, if the two armies really confront each other, the strength of the former army will still be stronger. They brought back the latest news to the people of Great Qian. The army that conquered foreign lands won a great victory and is about to return to the capital. Of course, the imperial court was the first to receive the news, but it was not made public. The Great Qian will hold a grand celebration the day before the new year to welcome their return, and then have a 7-day holiday. All Great Qian officers and soldiers can return home and reunite. Then, we started a 2-month training to digest the gains of this month and prepare for the eastern wilderness. On New Year's Eve, the expeditionary army returned. Li Yun personally went to the entrance to greet them, and then destroyed the secret realm. The passage had already begun to become unstable, and even if he didn't destroy it, it wouldn't last long. The pig demon world is completely disconnected from Great Qian. However, it can no longer be called the pig demon world. Instead, it was renamed Orc World. The Orc World is now led by orcs. The leader is the son of the previous leader of the Orc Resistance, and is also an Orc guard dragon who mistakenly entered Great Qian. His father had a very high status among the orcs. Even though he was dead, many orcs still supported him, their only son, to take the position of leader. Of course, Weilong, as the only hub of communication between the Orc world and Great Qian, may be the main reason for becoming the leader. Outside the Great Qiandu city, all officials climbed up the city wall. Li Yun is at the front. The people surrounded the city inside and outside, leaving only a long passage leading to the distance. Everyone's face was filled with joy and excitement. In the distance, 2 purple gold battle flags appeared, and then hundreds and thousands of battle flags fluttered in the air one after another. On the battle flag in the front was embroidered a large gold-plated character. Dry. The battle flags fluttered in the air. With the appearance of battle flags, teams of soldiers appeared in people's sight one after another. There are thousands of soldiers standing under each battle flag. Every soldier had a solemn look on his face. 900,000 battle-hardened soldiers, a murderous aura spread in the air, reaching straight into the sky. They were divided into 2 camps. One team wears red armor and the other team wears black armor. In front of them, 2 generals with calm and cool expressions stood side by side. They are the commanders of this war and the new military gods of Great Qian. Tian Marshal Marquis Chen Qingzi. Champion Marquis Huo Qubing. Look, that's my brother-in-law. He is now a centurion of the Tianwu army. He really brings honor to my Wang family. Get lost, your brother-in-law is not from your Wang family, what does it have to do with your Wang family? Look at my son-in-law, he is now the personal guard of Lord Chen, there is nothing wrong with saying that he brings honor to my son family. Old son, your son-in-law's last name isn't even Sun, what glory does he bring to the Sun family? What? A live-in son-in-law is not good. Once you enter my Sun family, you are a member of my Sun family. Sister-in-law, I saw my brother, look. Quote. The people on both sides kept looking up at the army, searching for familiar faces, and everyone's face had a hint of excitement and glory. Welcome to the triumphant army, Great Qian Yonggan, Your Majesty Yonggan. Someone in the crowd shouted. Suddenly, a sound that shook the sky was heard. Welcome to the triumphant army, Great Qian Yonggan, Your Majesty Yonggan. In the distance, 900,000 soldiers also raised their spears and shouted loudly. Great Qian Yonggan, Your Majesty Yonggan. Great Qian Yonggan, Your Majesty Yonggan. Li Yun on the city wall could feel the surging national fortune and rising momentum of Great Qian. Li Yun stretched out his hands and pressed down, and the sound stopped immediately. The scene was silent. Li Yun took a step forward, suspended in midair, and spoke loudly. Great Qian soldiers, today, you have returned victoriously, and I am very pleased. You all fight for me, Great Qian. Great Qian will not treat you unfairly. After he finished speaking, he rolled up his sleeves and spiritual rain poured down. This is not ordinary spiritual rain, but is diluted by Li Yong using thousands of Qingchen pills. It can help them purify the bloody evil spirit, in order to avoid going astray. Soldiers in the army need to have some fierceness, but too much is as bad as too little. At the same time, the countless spiritual powers contained in it can help them go one step further. Countless soldiers opened their arms and bathed in the clouds and rain. The bloody smell that was rising into the sky quickly faded. Soldiers whose cultivation had reached the critical point broke through one after another. A quarter of an hour later. 900,000 soldiers, all under law manifestation. Li Yun nodded with satisfaction. I have prepared countless fine wines and delicacies for you. Tonight, we will not talk about the country or the state. You can revel to your heart's content. Thank you, Your Majesty. Many soldiers bowed to the ground. Li Yun nodded and left directly. The rest of the matters would naturally be arranged by other people, as he had more important things to do. In a manner in the outer city of Gandu. Li Yun's figure appeared. This is the Tiandao Pavilion residence chosen by the 5th Kangshung. At present, he is still a lone commander. He also refused all arrangements for maids and guards, and he was here alone. Greetings, Your Majesty. When Li Yun appeared, Dawu Kangshung also appeared beside him and leaned forward slightly. No need to be polite. Is there anything wrong with what I told you yesterday? The 5th person shook his head. Your Majesty, there should be no problem. However, I am not yet the heavenly Tao after all. All resources still need to be provided by Your Majesty. The resources required to bless the entire people are so huge that even if we empty 1 or 2 saint-level forces, it would be difficult to achieve. It doesn't matter. Great Qian now has 17.6 billion naturalized citizens. I can still supply these resources. As long as you can deliver them to the right place, that's fine. Your Majesty, don't worry. Although I cannot exercise the authority of the 4 extremities now, I can still do these small things. Said the 5th Kangshung firmly. Li Yun nodded and walked away. This time he really spent a lot of money. A great gift has been prepared for all the people of Great Qian. So that the many people who are hiding their identities in the eastern wilderness can also receive this great gift. He also asked the future heavenly Tao to take action personally. Make sure no one is left out. No matter where the people of Great Qian are, as long as their registered residence is in Great Qian will not leave them behind. Chapter 91, Chanting the name of Great Qian and enjoying the grace of Great Qian. The second day. The whole nation celebrates. Inside and outside the city, flags were flying, firecrackers were blasting, gongs and drums were beating, and people were gathering together with laughter and joy, making the scene extremely lively. The same is true within the 36 counties. The people of Great Qian have never had such a solid new year. Today's Great Qian, spirit qi has improved more than 100 times compared to before unification. People's living standards have also improved 100 times compared to before. Nowadays, even newborn babies are much healthier than before. The people who were originally weak and sickly gradually became healthier. Li Yun's strategy of deploying military forces among the entire population has already been implemented. Nowadays, as long as you enter school, you can start learning from the most basic martial arts. As long as one is not particularly stupid, one can reach the acquired state at the age of 12. It is very common to become an innate after reaching adulthood, and this refers to those with average qualifications. If the qualifications are better, an adult Tao palace or even a law manifestation is not impossible. As for the area around Gandu, it is even more exaggerated because the density of spirit qi there is so terrifyingly high. Many pilgrims who come here to worship think they have arrived at a paradise on earth. Therefore, the average cultivation level here needs to be raised to a higher level. A series of industries in Gandu are also breaking new records. The prices of things like real estate and land have increased more than 1,000 times compared to before. There is even no demand for it. It is said that some officials proposed to raise the height of the residential buildings in Gandu, to add 10 or 20 floors, and then sell them separately. But it was ultimately rejected. Because according to the cabinet's deduction, the user experience is extremely poor and it is easy to reduce people's sense of happiness. There are also several large brothels like the one in Gandu. The entry threshold has also increased dramatically. You may ask why the threshold is raised. The law manifestation realm is out to receive customers. Do you think you can watch it by spending a little money? For example, Chunfenglo is the best brothel in Gandu, where the top PR street Yud is void refining, and the main attraction is law manifestation. The worst is Dao Palace realm, so the threshold is really high. Not only does one have to be extremely wealthy, but there are also restrictions on one's cultivation level. Otherwise I'm afraid you can't bear it. The pleasant day passed quickly. Until nightfall. A ray of light suddenly appeared from the sky, and then a magnificent throne appeared, with a vague shadow sitting on it. This scene above the sky can be seen from any location on the Great Qian land. Today is the new year, and the whole world is celebrating. All the people of Great Qian who chant the name of Great Qian can enjoy the grace of Great Qian. A majestic word resounded in the hearts of all the people of Great Qian. It's His Majesty the Emperor. Everyone could tell who the voice was from. It was the Lord of Great Qian, Emperor Ganyun. Once, when Li Yun was breaking through the Dao realm, a spiritual rain fell in Great Qian for 12 hours. At that time, his words were also heard by everyone in Great Qian. Longyang County. The two burly men put down their sticks, looked at the magnificent and shining throne in the sky, and muttered silently in their hearts. Great Qian. Lily County. Two ladies from prominent families who were cruising on a boat in the middle of the river each straightened their appearance, with solemn expressions on their faces and silent thoughts in their hearts. Great Qian. Sanpi County. County Magistrate Lei Ming walked out of the house with his two concubines, hammered his chest with his right hand, and shouted, Great Qian! Great Qian! Great Qian! In Qingzhou, a gleam of light emanated from the eyes of the blue-robed Wuming, and he muttered silently in his heart. Great Qian! Eastern Wilderness Qingzhou, Baozhou, Xuanzhou, Weizhou, Yangzhou, Guzhou, Yaozhou. Voices were heard in all 36 states. Great Qian. Great Qian. Quote. Countless chanting sounds rang out between heaven and earth. Then it resounded throughout the heaven and earth. The phantom in the sky exploded with a loud bang, and countless dense spots of light scattered. It shot out in all directions and merged into the bodies of the people of Great Qian. Another part escaped into the void, into the states of the eastern wilderness. It was fine in the Great Qian, but when these light spots entered the states of the eastern wilderness, they caused quite a stir and attracted countless prying eyes. Cold snorts were heard in various states. Pieces of the void cracked open, and pairs of powerful hands stretched out from the cracks and grabbed the light spots. However, before these big hands could get close, the many light spots disappeared into the void again, leaving no breath. Waves of impotent and furious voices echoed in the void. On the second day, countless sects and the two great dynasties sent out numerous people to investigate the source of the mysterious light, causing quite a bit of turmoil in the eastern wilderness. Many remnants of the evil cult, lawless elements, and wanted criminals were caught. That's all for later. In the Great Qian territory at this moment. It was so lively. Everyone's cultivation base is rising rapidly. Innate enters Dao Palace. Dao Palace condenses law manifestation. Law manifestation breaks void refining. No matter what realm one is in, everyone has improved. In just this short period of time, tens of millions of people have condensed law manifestation, and hundreds of thousands of people have broken through law manifestation and entered void refining. In the Imperial Palace, a majestic aura emanated. Li Yun, who was originally only one step away from perfecting the way of Dao, continued to improve his cultivation and directly surpassed the state of perfecting the way of Dao and reached the initial state of peeping into the Dao. Then he quickly broke through the barrier of the initial realm, broke through the middle stage of the peeping path, and reached the peak. The late stage is just a step away. Then the momentum faded, and Li Yun's long sigh was heard from the deep palace. Just today, he consumed 90% of his resources, which was the gain from signing in for 5 months. Not only that, 9 of the 10 spirit stones of the storage rings stolen from the eastern wilderness were consumed at once. It seems that Ji Yuan has to make another trip. Fortunately, my cultivation level has also made a breakthrough, which is pretty good. Then he glanced in the direction of the eastern wilderness. Cursing. You're such a jerk. I wanted to give you a promotion but you refused. You're still wasting your time even though you're low on health. If you don't hold back 3 or 5 saints during this Dragon Gate meeting, I'll use you to plug the eye of the Sea of Nothingness. Eastern Wilderness. Windy City. In the blacksmith shop, Wuming gave a bitter smile. He pinched a spot of light in his hand and threw it. It merged into the body of Yi Guan, who was already sleeping without anyone noticing and was sealed up by him. What Li Yun gave him was not comparable to Great Qian's little law manifestation and little void refining. If it exploded directly in Yi Guan's body, it would probably melt him directly, and he would not even know how he died in the underworld. Yin Yang Sect. Inside the sect's main hall, the cattle and horses kneeling on the ground stood up happily. At this moment, his cultivation had surprisingly reached the state of empty void perfection. He jumped 3 levels directly from the initial stage of empty void and almost reached the state of Hexu. The elders and peak masters below all looked at the cattle and horses with contempt. Although they were all converted by Li Yun, they all have their own thoughts and dignity. They couldn't do something like kneeling in public. However, while everyone was looking down on them, they were also trying their best to hide the envy in their eyes. In the past, cattle and horses had the lowest cultivation among them, and their status was also lower middle. But now, he not only sits on the position of sect leader. His cultivation level broke through like a rocket and he directly became the leader of the group. The chief elder had only broken through from the empty void late stage to the state of perfection. These people have even just broken through a small realm. Niu Ma looked proudly at the many elders and peak masters below the stage. Elders, peak masters, let's continue discussing the participants of this Dragon Gate meeting. Is there anyone who would like to sign up? With your majesty here, something big will definitely happen at this Dragon Gate meeting. If you miss this meeting, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Also, I can tell you that this time I went there with His Majesty's order. If the mission is completed well, it will be a great achievement. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 92, The Sixth Big Sign, Demon Venerable arrives at Yin Yang Sect. Qiandu Royal Academy. Li Yuehua felt the huge amount of energy pouring into her, and a strange look appeared in her beautiful eyes. She also heard Li Yun's voice, and the words, Great Qian, came out of her mouth for no reason. In the middle stage of empty void, her cultivation level increased rapidly and she broke through to the empty void late stage. Originally, Li Yun did not prepare a share for her, but since it has been registered with Great Qian, she is a part of Great Qian. Moreover, during the time she was the head instructor in the academy, she had done her job conscientiously and had not put on any airs like a princess or a powerful person in her previous life. This alone is already precious. The students in the academy have a good opinion of her. If she can continue to position herself correctly in the future, she will have a bright future. The second year of the Qianyan calendar. The first day of the new year. Ding. The number of sign-ins for the day has been refreshed. One big sign-in and one small sign-in. Do you want to sign in? Closing square bracket. Li Yun rubbed his hands. The landlord doesn't have much surplus food left, so he needs to replenish it. Sign in. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed into the high-level Saint Weapon Fengkun Chenkin furnace. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed in and are now transferred to the platform refining method. Fengkun Chenkin furnace. Add a certain proportion of materials according to the pill recipe, and it can automatically pill refining. The pill recipe is included in the furnace. Teleport to platform. Teleport between two locations. The distance and number of people transported depend on the level of cultivation of the person doing the refining. They are all good things. Li Yun's eyes lit up. They at Great Qian are in need of an alchemist. There is one person among the 12 zodiac signs who is proficient in pill refining, but he prefers killing people. This small pill refining furnace came at the right time. This transmission platform is even more useful. If used properly, it can be a powerful weapon for their Great Qian. The Eastern Wilderness is a vast area, and even in the Saint Realm, it takes a while to travel across states. Not to mention below Saint Realm. Dao Fusion Realm can cover 1,000 miles in an instant, but Qingzhou alone covers millions of miles. Even if they tried their best, it would take them half an hour to get through Qingzhou. And this transmission Dao platform is a law manifestation realm that can easily cross a state in an instant. It is even more useful in fighting a war. You think I'm alone, but I have a million people behind me to support me and can kill me in an instant. Waiting for your person to come, the tombstone has been erected for you. Moreover, if this thing were placed in every city and state in the Eastern Wilderness and a charging model was launched, it would be a huge profit. Li Yun's mind moved, and an inch-sized alchemy furnace and a booklet appeared in his hands. The Fengkun Qian Kun furnace is really Fengkun. Li Yun refined this high-level saint weapon in an instant and probed his mind into it. There is a lot more to it than meets the eye. Li Yun could feel that there were at least hundreds of forbidden spells set up inside, most of which involved his blind spots in knowledge. It seems that these prohibitions are the key to its automatic pill refining. Li Yun didn't think too much about it. He didn't care how it was refined. He just wanted the result. Inside it there is a booklet of tens of thousands of pages, and each page is a recipe for a pill. Many of them were things Li Yun had never heard of before, and the raw materials might not be found in the entire Eastern Wilderness or even the four extremities. Li Yun selected several pill recipes that were currently in short supply or could be used in Great Qian, branded a copy of the required raw materials, and sent it to the cabinet. Order them to collect these raw materials with all their strength as future strategic resources. Then he looked at the method of refining the transmission platform in his other hand. The words written on it were not commonly used in the Eastern Wilderness, but he could understand them. It seems that the system is still very user-friendly. The after-sales service is good. Refining a transmission platform is not difficult, but the requirements are not low. Refining a Dao platform is different from other law treasures. First, you need to refine a basic Dao platform. This is simple as long as you have the materials. Secondly, you need to engrave various runes on it. The order and position of the runes cannot be different. This step is not very difficult, just be careful. The last step is difficult. If you want to use the transmission Dao platform, you need an essential core. Void Divine Crystal. It just so happened that Li Yun had seen this thing in the item warehouse of the Void Trade Fair. He can also exchange it. But one important thing is that the coordinates need to be engraved on the Void Divine Crystal, otherwise the positioning cannot be achieved when teleporting to the platform. The Void Divine Crystal is very domineering, and ordinary Saint Realms may not be able to leave a mark on it. Li Yun had to put this teleportation array on hold temporarily. It has to be put on hold. I can't even afford to exchange for the damn Void Divine Crystal now. If it was the day before, I could probably collect enough exchange points by myself. But now I am poor. Qingzhou, outside Yin-Yang sect. 3 figures floated over. 2 men and 1 woman. It was Li Qingxing, Shuiyu Saintus and Shabi Tanju who came to seek revenge. Li Qingxing and the other man have recovered from their injuries. With the accumulation of Examen family's resources, Shabai has even reached the peak of the early stage of asking for the way. He hadn't made any progress beyond the initial stage of Taoism for thousands of years, and this small breakthrough almost made him cry with joy. Li Qingxing, who was originally in the void refining realm, also broke through to the middle stage of empty void at this time. Shuiyu has also reached the middle stage of void refining. Miss Shui, how do you think we should enter the Yin-Yang sect? Li Qingxing stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the gate of the Yin-Yang sect, a hint of disdain flashing in his eyes. Shuiyu said cautiously, young Master Li, you should not underestimate Yin-Yang sect. As a subsidiary of Shungshan sect, there is a high possibility that there is a Dao realm master in Yin-Yang sect. Shabi, who was standing by, closed his eyes and felt it for a while, then shook his head slightly. Young master, I didn't sense the aura of the Dao realm, but there are a few people in the Hexu realm. However, they can be easily destroyed. Shabi's tone was also full of contempt. As a person in the Dao realm, he has the capital to be contemptuous. If it were the Shungshan sect, he would definitely stay away from it. But it was just a subsidiary sect far away in another state, without even a Dao realm, and was not worthy of his attention. If the young master hadn't wanted to take revenge in a high-profile manner, he would have killed him in a few snaps. He should calm down his anger from last time at Examan's house. Damn it. It makes me angry just thinking about this. This is the empty void capital he has accumulated for 1,000 years. The Examan family was defeated in one fell swoop. HMPH. They are not at the Dao realm. Damn it. How dare they issue a wanted order for me? I'd like to see who gave them the confidence. Li Qingxing said with a cold snort. Shabi couldn't wait any longer. With a simple wave of his hand, spirit chi surged, and a big hole was immediately created in the Yin-Yang sect's mountain protection formation, emitting a sound that resounded through the sky. What's that sound? Enemy attack. There was a voice coming from Yin-Yang sect. In the sect's main hall, the candidates who were to go to the Shungshan sect had just been selected. All of them must go, not one is left behind, empty void is above midterm. There might have to be a gunfight, and having more people can give us courage. Sudden. The sect's formation was broken, and everyone's expression changed as they looked outside. 3 figures descended from the sky and hovered above the square in front of the sect's main hall. Saintus. The 5th prince. Is it that fellow Dao realm fellow? 3 voices came from the mouths of 3 people. The one who calls Saintus is the chief elder Chu Dao. The one who addressed the 5th prince was the Niyama sect leader. The one who addressed those who were in Dao realm as fellow Daoists was sect master Shen Kui. Since Niu Ma joined Great Qian, he has studied all the information about Great Qian that he could find. I wish I could engrave all the characters of Great Qian in my mind. Of course, he was very familiar with this former Great Qian 5th prince and the person that Li Yun personally told him to be wanted. Chapter 93. The Yin-Yang sect elders are energetic. Outside the Yin-Yang sect hall. Hearing the addresses from several people, Li Gangxing and the other 2 were all stunned. They knew Xueyu, and it was common for them to call her Saintus. But what the hell is calling him the 5th prince? Is there someone called Great Qian here? Li Gangxing himself almost forgot his noble identity. After the prodigy meeting, Li Gangxing has decided to temporarily avoid the limelight of Great Qian. Who knows if his former 3rd brother would suddenly have a flash of inspiration and think of himself. I had once threatened to take his throne. If you are hated by others, your life will be difficult. Having offended a saint-level force, the demon cult was in dire straits and almost destroyed. If they offend one more person, it will be even more difficult for the demon cult to turn things around. However, Li Gangxing took Great Qian's changes to heart. It also further proves that the land of 100 countries is not simple. When his strength recovers in the future, he will still go back for a visit. Speaking of fellow Taoists, it is obvious that they are referring to the only Taoist at the scene, Sha Bai. But Sha Bai thought again and again, he didn't have any colleagues, and the demon cult had never planted undercover agents in the Yin-Yang sect. How can there be a peer group? Since he couldn't figure it out, Sha Bai simply stopped thinking about it. It was enough for him to know that Yin-Yang sect were all enemies. Sha Bai took a step forward, and his voice spread throughout the Yin-Yang sect. The people from Yin-Yang sect were wanted for our demon sect's young master in the past. Sect leader Shen Kui even wanted to use Miss Xueyu, a friend of our demon sect's young master, as a furnace. Using women as cauldrons is something that even my demon sect is ashamed of. Today, my demon sect will also enforce justice on behalf of heaven and destroy your Yin-Yang sect. As soon as Sha Bai finished speaking, he immediately caused a commotion among many disciples. The demon sect. Damn, the Yin-Yang sect has been in so many troubles recently. The last sneak attack was probably done by the demon sect. I don't care about the devil cult or anything like that. Even if the sky falls, there are tall people to hold it up. I only care whether Saintus really ran away because of the furnace. Are you stupid? Saintus's cultivation was not the strongest in the sect at that time, so why did they let her become Saintus? Of course the sect master has other intentions towards her. Isn't this obvious? Look, the former sect leader's face has turned black. He is a little embarrassed to be exposed in public. Even many elders looked at Shen Kui with something strange in their eyes. They knew that the former lord valued Saintus, but they didn't expect this to be the reason. When Shabi said it, they already trusted him 80%. Initially, they were not very happy when Xueyu was chosen as Saintus. After all, Yin-Yang sect didn't have the position of Saintus before, and it was Shen Kui who overcame all objections and helped her take this position. That is why, after Xueyu Saintus defected, many elders and peak masters did not care much. Only Shen Kui's staunch subordinate, the chief law enforcement elder, was very enthusiastic. Shen Kui's old face turned red. Although he did have this in mind when he established Shuiyu as saintess. Because of her special physique. But that doesn't mean to treat her as a cauldron. It is a method of dual cultivation, which is beneficial to both parties. Otherwise, why would he help her reach the position of saintess? Her status is even higher than that of most elders, and the resources she enjoys are incomparable to other disciples. Only when her cultivation level is improved, will the dual cultivation in the future be more effective. Of course, this is also a hypothesis. Because he was preparing for a breakthrough into the Tao realm. That would at least require the cultivation of Hexu perfection. If he hasn't broken through to the perfection of Hexu by the end of lifespan, then all his plans will be in vain. Listen to my explanation. Explanation. Shen Kui looked at the many suspicious looks and quickly spoke. Alright, Fifth Supreme, I understand you. In order to improve your cultivation, you won't kowtow. Yes, Fifth Supreme, as cultivators of our generation, we should march forward courageously and fight for our lives against the heavens, using every possible means. I support you. Even Shen Kui's uncle, the third Grand Master Shen Shu, patted him on the shoulder. Nephew, uncle understands you. Because Shen Kui stepped down from the position of sect leader and was promoted to the Fifth Supreme Elder. They are called the Five Supremes. Shen Kui's face was filled with grief and indignation, and the words that were about to come out of his mouth were blocked. Okay, stop talking. Who will die first? A hint of impatience flashed in Li Gangxing's eyes. If he doesn't slaughter the Yin-Yang sect today, he will be unworthy of his title of Demon Venerable. He, Demon Venerable, has always been vindictive unless he cannot defeat his opponent. Many disciples of Yin-Yang sect immediately scattered. When the big guys fight, don't let these little bastards get involved. Several people pretended not to see them leave. For some small minions, it doesn't matter whether you kill more or less. The middle and senior leaders on the opposite side have been locked by Sha Bai's aura, and none of them can escape. Shuiyu stepped aside. Her cultivation was too low, so she just wanted to be a spectator. A monstrous demonic energy spread out from Li Gangxing and the other man, covering half of the Yin-Yang sect's mountain gate. All the elders and peak masters were included in it. Master Shatten, I'll leave the things above the Hexu realm to you, and I'll take care of the rest. Li Gangxing said casually. Although there were about 20 people on the empty void in front of them, and their strength was slightly higher than that found by the demon cult before. There are nearly 100 people in void refining. But who is he? He is a demon venerable. He will kill as many as come to him in the same realm. I hacked away for 3 to 5 hours without blinking an eye. And your eyes will never get dry. Isn't that scary? Many elders of Yin-Yang sect all looked solemn. If the Great Supreme were here, everything could be solved, but the Great Supreme is not here. The Tao realm cultivator on the opposite side is enough to crush them. They don't have the ability to fight across levels like the many prodigy of Great Qian. Several Supremes, stop the man in Tao realm. I have sent a message to the Grand Supreme, and he will be back soon. Niu Ma said to several Supreme Elders in Hexu realm. Several Supremes cursed in their hearts. Can Tao realm be stopped by these little bastards in Hexu realm? Are you sure you want them to stop it instead of sending someone to die? Whoever holds on the longest gets the Tao weapon. Niu Ma suddenly said. The eyes of several Supremes suddenly lit up, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. He rushed towards Shabi with a roar. That Tao weapon was taken from Examin's house last time and was given to me by His Majesty. Later, when it came time to determine the ownership, they argued fiercely and no one was willing to give in. Finally, it was Niu Ma who decided to temporarily seal Tao weapon and deal with it later. The combat power of having a Tao weapon in hand and not having a Tao weapon in hand is not even a little bit different. Think about how Li Kanur, who is at the Void Refining Realm, can kill someone at the Tao realm with just one high-level Tao weapon. Among the many Tao realms in Eastern Wilderness, how many people possess Tao weapons? Just like the leader of the forum opposite, Sha Bai, who is still using a high-level spirit weapon, which is very shabby. If they had a Tao weapon, they would not be inferior to those in the Tao realm. The cattle and horses looked at the Taishangs with satisfaction. Without Tao weapon, they would definitely not be able to defeat the guy on the opposite side. However, playing at home, we can still hold off the opponent for a while if we try our best. There is a high probability that you won't die. If he is really dead, then he is dead. Anyway, Tao weapon has been refined by myself. I'll give the fifth prince a surprise later. If we can bring him to Great Qian and before His Majesty, it will be a great achievement. Everyone, whoever captures this man alive will be granted the position of the chief elder. Niu Ma pointed at Li Gangxing and said loudly. Chu Dao. I'm still in office. Chapter 94. Li Qingxing's suspicion, Niama's Dao weapon sneak attack. Looking at the many elders rushing over, Li Qingxing and Sha Bai were both a little confused. How come it seems like the other way around? We are the tops and you are the bottoms. But now is not the time to think about these things. At this point, it doesn't matter who is the top or the bottom, the ending will not change anyway. The square was instantly divided into two battlefields. 4 Hexu surrounded Sha Bai, and their attacks were all powerful and majestic, with spirit chi surging. Tai Chi Tyrant Fist. Fire Thunder Explosion. Nongyu plays the flute. 1,000 years of killing technique. Whether or not you can cause damage to the enemy is not important. The important thing is to have enough momentum, at least more than that of your teammates, which means they have made great efforts. Shabi was dismissive of this. They are all just show-offs, and can only be considered decent in the Hexu realm. For a Dao realm powerhouse like him, it would be considered good if they can just wear down his skin. He just gently pushed his right hand forward, spirit chi surged, the space exploded, and 4 figures flew out backwards. With just one strike, he repelled the joint attack of 4 Hexu. Sha Bai sneered and looked at Li Qingxing's battlefield beside him. More than 20 empty voids were besieging him. But under the overwhelming demonic energy, only a limited number of people can unleash the power of the empty void realm. The most prominent among them is Empty Void's perfect chief elder Chu Dao. With the help of several elders from Empty Void late stage, he was able to fight against Li Qingxing without losing. However, Sha Bai could see that the young master was not serious at all, otherwise these people would not have been able to last a few rounds. Well, let's have some fun with them again. Sha Bai waved his sleeves and pulled the 4 Hexu back into the battlefield. The other side. Great Elder, that's right, attack his lower body, hit him in the balls, hit him in the balls. Oops, Elder Lu, you hit the wrong person. Don't shoot into the air. Elder Zhang over there, you better shoot more accurately. Can't you hit the target even if you aim? You've already hit the Great Elder. The cattle and horses were constantly directing the battle on the periphery while constantly changing their positions. Change the location every time you say something. Li Qingxing looked over with cold eyes. This guy's mouth is really disgusting. However, the more this was the case, the more he wanted to save it for last. Let him watch his companion slowly die in his hands. Let him slowly feel the despair. Warm-up time is over, Li Qingxing shouted. Then the demonic energy in the air became 3 times stronger than before and swept towards everyone again. Everyone's faces suddenly changed, and they all mobilized their spiritual power to block it. Even the great elder Chu Dao instantly distanced himself from Li Qingxing. But this demonic energy is too huge, too strong, and too overbearing. Several empty voids at the initial and intermediate levels were struck hard, vomiting blood and flying away. The blood that spurted out also carried a strong demonic aura. Several elders who had been injured in the previous attack had demonic energy entering their bodies. Black energy kept flashing in their eyes, and their lives were almost cut off. Only a few empty void late stage and great elders were struggling to hold on. But judging by their trembling bodies and the cold sweat dripping from their bodies, they probably won't be able to hold on for too long. But there was another person at the scene who was more relaxed. That is the cow and horse that has been talking nonsense on the periphery. The strong demonic energy seemed to have no effect on him, and he was still muttering nonstop. Old Wang, why are you so weak? Why did you fall down? Get up, or I will remove you from your position as elder if you don't get up. Master Qian, cheer up. You are so scared of the demonic energy. You are not afraid of anything. It is not a virus. Li Qingxing also stared at the cattle and horses in some confusion. His demonic energy is not ordinary demonic energy, but a divine ability. Soul-stealing magic. If evil energy enters the body, enemies with weak soul power will lose their minds under his soul-stealing magic and be controlled by him like puppets. Last time in Dongzi town, those elders of Yin-Yang sect were turned into his puppets by this technique. Even if you are facing someone stronger than you still have to be careful and guard against them. Otherwise, although you will not lose your sanity, your soul will be damaged and your strength will be greatly reduced. How could this person not react at all? Li Qingxing discovered that this person was not the only one who was strange. The other elders are also somewhat different. According to common sense, with this move, there will definitely be some people with weak spiritual powers who will turn against me and become my puppets. However, even though these people seem to be having a hard time resisting, how are they able to hold on? Could it be that all the people in this Yin-Yang sector specialized in cultivating their spirits? Niyama sneered. Ever since the last incident involving the remnants of the demon cult, he had begun to study the many divine abilities of the demon cult. Although soul-stealing magic was once Demon Venerable's signature divine ability, many people in the demon cult also use it. After the last time the 4 peak lords came back from east and west towns and described the battle situation at that time, the state of several law enforcement elders reminded him of this soul-stealing magic. If it were before, these scums in his sect might have fallen long ago, but it is different now. Now, all the Yin-Yang sect empty void has been enlightened by your majesty with his great divine ability. Who can wrest control over them from your majesty? The other party may be able to kill them, but will never be able to control them. While Li Qingxing was still in a daze, the ring on Niu Ma's right hand flashed with light. Go. A block-like object smashed towards Li Qingxing. An aura far beyond the realm of emptiness permeated within the yin-yang sect. What? Li Qingxing was horrified and quickly dodged. But the block-like object was so fast, its speed was terrifying. Moreover, as it moved forward, it continued to grow larger, and in an instant it became the shape of a mountain. Young master. An angry shout came from the side. It turned out that Shabai on another battlefield also felt this destructive aura. Shabi, who was beating 4 people, suddenly panicked. Why does this thing look so familiar? Isn't this the Dao weapon, Juyu Peak, created by a Taoist master of the Examen family thousands of years ago? How come Yin-Yang sect has this thing? But now is not the time to worry about this, the young master is in imminent danger. Even though the young master is very strong, the power of Dao weapon is not so easy to resist, and he himself does not have that confidence. However, the controller is an empty void realm. If it were a combined void, he would have probably run away by now. Shabai waved his sleeves and knocked the 4 hexu away from Yin-Yang sect. Then he appeared in front of Li Qingxing in a flash. The young master cannot die now. The young master is the greatest opportunity in my life, and I have sold the rest of my life to him. I'm still waiting for him to take me out of Qingzhou and take me a step further in the future. Otherwise, I will be stuck in the initial stage of seeking the Tao for my whole life. When Shabi appeared, the huge mountain that had grown to a height of thousands of feet also fell down. It fell towards his head. It felt like a mountain pressing down on one's head. Shabai swung out with his palm, and the wind from his palm collided with the mountain, and he was instantly smashed into the ground. The entire Yin-Yang sect was shaken 3 times by the huge force that fell. The 4 Hexu Taisheng who were returning quickly were directly knocked out again by the huge impact force, spitting out mouthfuls of blood. However, they also saw the appearance of the huge mountain clearly. You damn beast, how dare you refine Dao weapon privately? Dao weapon belongs to me. Shen Kui shouted angrily. It's obviously mine. I dug it out from the Examen family's ancestral tomb with my own hands. The 3rd Supreme Lord Shenshu was not willing to be outdone and started arguing with his own nephew. What's the point of arguing? Hurry up and heal your wounds. Once this is over, if I don't beat these cows and horses until they cry for their mothers, I won't be named Wang. Another weak voice sounded. Count me in, I'm going to beat him until he calls me daddy. Lao Jing, what the hell do you mean? Chapter 95. The Shabi duo know the truth, Li Yun appears. Yin-Yang sect was in a mess. A huge hole appeared in the originally spacious and tidy square. The huge mountain also shrank again and was taken back by the extremely exhausted cattle and horses. The attack just now almost drained him dry. I hope it can achieve the desired effect. Although I didn't bring out the full power of this low-level Dao weapon, I still have 80 points of it. Under normal circumstances, if the opponent attacks you without much preparation, the survival rate of a cultivator in the early stage of the Dao realm is not high. He deliberately did not attack Shabai, but instead launched a sneak attack on Li Qingxing. It was to plot against Shabi. As soon as several people came in, he could see that the one with the highest status among them was the 5th prince, Li Qingxing. If he were to attack Shabai, as a person at the Dao realm, he would definitely be able to dodge. But Li Qingxing is different. Although he is not weak, he is still an empty void realm after all, and it is likely that he cannot be avoided. Then Shabai would most likely block the attack for him, and this time he would be skinned alive if he wasn't killed. As long as they are seriously injured, the next step is to use human wave tactics. We must drag them all to death. Ahem. A cough was heard, causing everyone in Yin-Yang sect to change color. Why does this G cough still sound so powerful? Then, in the shocked eyes of everyone, 2 miserable figures leapt up. Li Qingxing and Shabai both had disheveled hair and tattered clothes at this moment, looking extremely miserable. However, these are not their focus. The point is that although these 2 people look miserable, their aura has not weakened much. This shows that they didn't actually suffer much loss. How is this possible? How come it was a Dao weapon attack, and it was a sneak attack, but there was no damage at all? Everyone looked at the cows and horses, as if asking something. That's it. He was as fierce as a tiger, but the damage was only 0.5. The cows and horses looked over and their eyes stopped on the black gold crown on Li Qingxing's head. This appeared on Li Qingxing after his sneak attack. Demon crown. The cows and horses gasped and screamed. As someone who has done in-depth research on the demon cult, he memorized some of the divine abilities, characters, and Dao weapons of the demon cult. This magic crown was not originally called this name. It was called the magic crown because of its owner. Demon Venerable. It is one of the only 2 high-level Dao weapons of the demon cult, the demon crown. Another high-level Dao weapon is the magic sword. The owner of both is Demon Venerable. However, after the sword sect attacked the demon sect, Demon Venerable was beaten and could not hide. The demon sword was eventually captured by the sword sect and sealed within the sect. It was only after the magic sword was sealed that news of the Demon Venerable's fall was reported. However, there was no trace of the demon crown. Could this be the magic crown that has never been found after the fall of Demon Venerable? No. That's not right. The cows and horses discovered something. Although this black gold crown looks very similar to the legendary magic crown, there is still one slight difference. More importantly, although the aura it exuded was very terrifying, it was still a little bit lacking, and was even weaker than the aura of the giant prison peak in his hand. There is no way it can be a high-level Dao weapon. It just barely meets the standard of a low-level Dao weapon. Hearing the screams of the cattle and horses, Li Qingxing snorted coldly. You are quite knowledgeable, but this is not the demon crown, but a replica of the demon crown. Although it is not as good as the demon crown, it also has the power of a low-level Dao weapon. It is enough to block the one in your hand. Now, are you ready to die? Li Qingxing's cold words spread throughout the Yin-Yang sect. He is really angry now. If he didn't have the Dao weapon with him, he would have almost been caught. In the distance, Shuiyu stepped back. The demon cult leader is really angry, so you'd better stay away from him to avoid getting splashed with blood. To be sure, I was angry before, but that was only because of face, or it was just for fun. Yin-Yang sect is probably going to be gone. Wait a minute. Young master, I have a question to ask them. Sha Bai suddenly said. Just now I heard someone say that the Dao weapon was dug out from the Examen family's ancestral tomb. I wonder if any fellow Taoist can help me understand this. Sha Bai's eyes flickered over everyone present. In the distance, several people around Shen Shu took a step back at the same time, leaving only him in front. Oh my god. Shen Shu felt uneasy. Especially when seeing the gazes from Sha Bai and Li Qingxing, her anus tightened even more. Oh, haha, misunderstanding, I was just beaten up and became stupid, slip of the tongue, slip of the tongue. Shen Shu grinned, his smile as bright as a chrysanthemum. Tell me, last time at Examen's house, were you the one who ruined our plans? Sha Bai no longer hid and spoke directly. Answer the truth, and I can leave you with an intact body. Hearing Sha Bai's words, Shen Shu felt determined. It was Yin-Yang sect who did it, so what? People from Yin-Yang sect are brave enough to take responsibility for their actions. I, Yin-Yang sect, will take on this vengeance. Shen Kui touched him beside him and whispered, wrong, uncle, you should take it, don't involve Yin-Yang sect. Shen Shu just slapped him with a big bag and said. It was this kid who came up with the idea last time, saying something about driving a tiger away to devour a wolf, luring a tiger away from the mountain, and luring a snake out of its hole. This kid has a very bad conscience. Shen Shu said seriously. Shen Kui. Stop talking like that. If I don't massacre the entire Yin-Yang sect today, I will write the word sand upside down. Sha Bai's furious voice rang out from within the gate of the Yin-Yang sect. He had never been so angry in his life. Even if the demon cult was destroyed at that time. Even a few days ago, his men died tragically in the Examen family's wrath. Even though he just took the Dao weapon. But he couldn't bear the fact that his own people died and became a wedding dress for others. And I was kept in the dark. I'm still reflecting on where I and others went wrong. He felt like an idiot. Li Qingxing also looked unhappy. He has always been a monkey trainer, but now, they are being played like monkeys. This is intolerable. Death, death, death. After 3 consecutive words of death, the entire sky became dark, with dark clouds covering the sky and the sun, as if they were going to swallow up the entire world. Yin-Yang sect is the first to bear the brunt. Everyone felt a breath of death approaching. Your Majesty, help me. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. I saw Niu Ma in the center of the crowd throwing the jade token in his hand into the sky. Then he knelt on the ground and screamed miserably. Time seems to stop at this moment. Everyone raised their heads and looked towards the jade token. A throne appeared in the sky. Then everyone on the Yin-Yang sect empty void knelt down. Your Majesty, welcome. As everyone finished speaking. An extremely powerful pressure appeared and instantly dispersed the dark clouds in the sky. On the throne, a figure wearing a purple and gold dragon robe suddenly appeared. This man had a noble face, and between his brows there was a domineering air that looked down upon the common people. A pair of eyes are so deep, like 2 stars, shining brightly. He sat there like a god in the 9th layer. Noble and domineering. Dominate the world. 5th brother, long time no see. Chapter 96, The Great Relocation Talisman, Hua Tian's Unexpected Disaster. 5th brother, long time no see. A majestic voice resounded between heaven and earth. Li Qingxing's pupils shrank slightly, and his expression became a little stiff. He had originally felt that the shadow on the throne in the sky was somewhat familiar, but he couldn't remember where it was at the moment. But when I heard this familiar voice again, and the name I hadn't heard for a long time. How could he not understand that this figure was none other than the great Qian emperor whom he wanted to temporarily avoid? He was also his 3rd elder brother. Look at the humble performance of the many elders of Yin-Yang sect. I immediately understood that the Yin-Yang sect had already been taken over by Great Qian. This time I have walked into a trap myself. Third brother, I haven't seen you for a long time. I almost didn't recognize you. Li Qingxing sighed while looking at the sky. Although Li Yun's aura looked a little scary, he could also see that the person in front of him was just a projection of thought. The cards are well prepared, but the real strength is not necessarily that strong, and I am not without the ability to fight. How dare you address His Majesty like that? When Niu Ma heard Li Qingxing's address, he suddenly stood up and pointed at Li Qingxing and scolded him. It's okay. My fifth brother is of noble status, so he is naturally arrogant. Li Yun's gentle voice sounded. Then he said to Li Qingxing, Old Five, if you bring the demon cult to submit to Great Qian, I can pardon your offense. Otherwise, Qianyu will keep a place for you. Looking at the look in Li Yun's eyes, Li Qingxing seemed to feel as if he was seen through. Has your identity as Demon Venerable been known? Li Qingxing's heart was pounding. Otherwise, why would the third brother let himself lead the demon sect to submit to Great Qian? At the same time, this blatant threat also made Li Qingxing very uncomfortable. Looking back on my past 2 lives, only the saint from the sword sect had threatened me in this way, and the bald donkey from the Vajra temple had tried to force me to become a Buddha. I didn't give in at that time. He actually threatened me with imprisonment. Did he buy the title of Demon Venerable from various forces in the eastern wilderness? Third brother, if you want to fight, then fight. If you think you can control me with just a thought projection, then you have chosen the wrong person. If I want to leave, no one can stop me. Li Qingxing's tone was a little stiff, but he seemed very confident. What a pity. A sigh came from the sky. Then, the world suddenly changed, and the whole world seemed to be turned upside down. The world is upside down. Li Qingxing and the other man gasped. A mere projection of thought can exert such power. If this were the real body, how powerful would it be? Do you already have the strength of Saint Realm? This is so unscientific. It's clearly only been less than half a year. Even if one has inherited the Saint Emperor's legacy, one can't improve so quickly, right? But now is not the time to think so much. A devastating aura was already pressing down on them, and it was many times stronger than the previous sneak attack by the Niu Ma Dao weapon. This kind of power is no weaker than the full-strength attack he had in his previous life. All things return to the abyss. Li Qingxing shouted loudly, and the black gold crown on his head continued to release black light, and huge spiritual power condensed from his body. The continuously surging spiritual power has far exceeded the limit that the empty void realm can accommodate, and is not inferior to the several Hexu realms in the Yin-Yang sect, and is even better. Sha Bai also had a solemn look on his face, he also felt a strong threat of death. This wasn't an attack that a rookie like him, who was just starting out in the Dao, should have to endure. Li Qingxing was still able to attack despite the resistance of Dao weapon. However, it was extremely difficult for him to mobilize his spiritual power. It was an irresistible oppression that not only acted on the body, but also had unimaginable oppression on the soul. Boom. Shabi's body fell directly to his knees. The space around Li Qingxing also exploded inch by inch, with countless thunders crackling. Oh no, run away. Li Qingxing shouted loudly when he saw the situation. Just this one strike revealed the gap between the two sides. The two of them simply couldn't bear it and had no chance of winning. Li Qingxing forcibly opened a protective shield, and the black gold crown on his head released black light to wrap around the bodies of the two men. Cracks appeared on the purple gold crown, which was completely beyond the limit of what Dao weapon could withstand. A void passage appeared and the two men were about to step into it. Huh, you want to leave? As the words fell, a clicking sound was heard. The earth trembled and the void collapsed. Countless powerful thunders appeared in the sky and fell down with a loud bang. The two people who had already entered the void were directly blasted out alive. Ah! Both of them let out heart-wrenching screams, their skin exploded and a bloody mist filled the air. The two men, already extremely weak, could only watch helplessly as countless subsequent thunderbolts engulfed them. The imitation magic crown exploded directly, and the fragments sank into the void. The thunder that followed blew the bodies of the two men into pieces. No ashes were left. Just when everyone in Yin-Yang sect thought that the matter was over, a cold snort sounded in the sky again. The great teleportation talisman. Then a pair of large hands were seen reaching into the void, reaching towards unknown direction. Everyone in Yin-Yang sect was shocked and looked towards the annihilated space. In the void where there should have been no dust at all, a used talisman actually appeared. Li Qian Xingyi Da Nuo Yi Fu Dao Chu Sheng Tian. Baozhou. In a magnificent city, a crack appeared in space and Li Qingxing's miserable body crawled out. Then, before being discovered, he quickly tore open the space and left again. In just a moment, a tall figure in gorgeous clothes appeared here. He is the mayor of this big city, Hua Tian, who has reached the late stage of Rongdao cultivation. Among the many big cities in Baozhou, his strength is enough to rank among the top 5. At the same time, he is also the core elder of Shungshan sect. He was originally receiving distinguished guests in the city lord's mansion when he sensed a very chaotic atmosphere appearing in his city. Under normal circumstances, as long as no trouble was caused, he would not bother to care. However, with a distinguished guest present, it is the city lord's duty to maintain law and order in the city, and he cannot ignore it. Is to arrive quickly. Unexpectedly, he came up empty-handed. That person moved so quickly. Just as he was about to investigate, a pair of huge hands came tearing through the space with terrifying pressure. How dare you? Hua Tian shouted angrily. It's bad enough that he hasn't caught the guy just now, but now there's another one. Does this mean that he, the city lord, is just a decoration? He flew up directly and met the attack with a palm. He uses his full strength in every move. When a distinguished guest comes to visit, of course we cannot weaken our dignity. However, what he didn't expect was that the pair of huge hands that came across the border were so strong. Snap. The moment the two pairs of palms touched, a sound of broken bones was heard. Hua Tian spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body fell to the ground with a bang, creating a big hole in the ground. The big hands did not stop, but crossed the space again. Looking at the direction, it was exactly the direction in which the first person's breath he had sensed left. FK, where did this strong man come from? At this moment, Hua Tian felt somewhat fortunate. It's a damn good thing that this person is not coming for me. Otherwise I would be stuck here today. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 97, Divine Phoenix Martial Marquis, Saint Interception. After the big hand left, 3 more people appeared here. The deafening sound just now could be heard throughout the city. As powerful people in the Dao realm, they can naturally feel it. Lord Hua, what's going on? Asked the middle-aged man in the front of the 3 people, who was wearing a black robe and a mustache. Behind him, on the left, there was a man wearing armor, with most of his face covered. The person on the right is wearing flowing black clothes, has delicate features and looks to be in his early 20s, but he has an extraordinary temperament and is extremely noble at first glance. Hua Tian covered his injured right palm and said with a wry smile, Martial Marquis, this city lord doesn't know either. I don't know where this fierce dragon from across the river came from. The aura looks very unfamiliar. This city lord can't withstand even a single move from him. If there were someone else here, they would definitely be surprised to hear Hua Tian's address. Eastern Wilderness, within the Divine Phoenix dynasty. There is only one person known as the Martial Marquis. It was the chief of the Divine Phoenix generals, Martial Marquis. There are 2 most special marquises among the Divine Phoenix, Marquis Wen and Marquis Martial. Wenho is the head of Confucianism and Taoism, the teacher of emperors. He does not practice martial Tao, but his upright spirit can shake heaven and earth. What you say must be followed by what you do. With a writing brush in his hand, he once killed monster race semi-saint. Martial Marquis is the chief of the military commanders. He holds a spear in hand, kills with decisiveness, and travels freely on the battlefield. At the same time, his martial Dao cultivation has reached the pinnacle of the Dao realm and has entered the semi-saint realm, only one step away from ascending to sainthood. The 2 of them have extremely high status and prestige in Shenfeng, and both control half of Shenfeng's territory. Now that the Dragon Gate is approaching, it is not uncommon for some old monsters to appear. Even if the saint realms of various sects show up, it is not impossible. Otherwise, how can we intimidate the 2 nations of Shenfeng and Changning? The young man in black on the right said calmly. Alas, these are troubled times. Martial Marquis shook his head and walked away, taking the 2 of them towards the direction of Shungshan sect. The Dragon Gate meeting will be held in 2 months. Even their Divine Phoenix took it very seriously and decided to go and check it out first. See how many monsters there are. Hopefully there will be a few more forces like Great Qian popping up, that would be really troublesome for them. The other side. Li Qingxing's figure appeared thousands of miles away, but the sense of crisis in his heart had not yet dissipated. Third brother, you are still the older brother, do you really have to chase after your younger brother like this? Li Qingxing shouted in grief and anger. Damn, in my previous life, I was chased around several states like this. I've lived this life all over again, but this damn familiar feeling still comes. 5th brother, I'm here to take you home. The mighty voice echoed in Li Qingxing's ears along with the broken space. FKU. Li Qingxing shouted. The figure disappeared again. This time he was heading towards the Shungshan sect's headquarters. If the Dao realm isn't difficult for you, then how could the Saint realm be difficult for you? Of course, he didn't know if he could hold on until then. In the next few hours, a strange sight appeared in Baozhou. A miserable figure kept running away, and the space behind him not only exploded, but a giant hand kept chasing him from behind. Anyone who blocks the way will be slapped. Asked and died immediately. Peeping into the road caused hemiplegia. Rong Dao barely managed to escape unscathed. As time went by, Li Qingxing's speed also slowed down. He suddenly realized that his 3rd brother's target was probably not him, or rather, not just him. Otherwise, with his terrifying strength, he should have caught up with me long ago. Really? A terrible thought flashed through Li Qingxing's mind. Is he trying to attract Saint Realm to take action? In order to verify his guess, he slowed down a bit, but he didn't expect that the big hand behind him also slowed down. Oh shit. Li Qingxing felt insulted. Damn it, I'm demon venerable. Once in the eastern wilderness, under Saint, who was not in awe of him. The entity that once roamed the eastern wilderness is now just a bait. Li Qingxing suddenly had an idea. Should he reveal Great Qian's background to him? Now many forces in the eastern wilderness are wary of Great Qian. It was because of the mystery of Great Qian, the mysterious Saint Realm, and the swordsman who could fight against Saint Realm. Li Qingxing guessed that the one who killed the arm of the divine phoenix Saint Realm might be his third brother. Great Qian may have only these two strong men, if their base is found by others. It is very likely that Great Qian will become a flash in the pan in this eastern wilderness. But then he rejected this terrible idea. Damn it, I still have a glimmer of hope now. If I really reveal Great Qian's secrets, I'm afraid I will never be able to escape Great Qian's pursuit. Moreover, he suspected that the Great Qian he knew might not be the Great Qian of today. He really didn't know what was hidden. Think about it now. Except for him, the third brother. The other brothers and sisters are not simple either. Except for the second one, of course. It's better to be steady first. Li Qingxing felt as if he had finally understood everything, and no longer headed towards the Shungshan sect at full speed. Instead, he headed towards the many big cities and forces under the Shungshan sect. These forces have one thing in common. That means they all have the realm of Dao. Only those who have reached the Dao realm dare to take action. Only the death or serious injury of a Dao realm being could attract the attention of Shungshan sect. An hour later, they arrived at a sect headquarters filled with abundant spirit qi. Li Qingxing appeared, struck the mountain gate formation with his palm, and then left quickly. Who are you? How dare you come to my Jiruo sect to cause trouble? An old man who had reached the state of perfection in the Dao of Taoism appeared, his face filled with anger. He was originally working hard to break through the Dao-seeking realm. The 72 secretly prepared furnaces and tripods were all arranged. Just waiting for the final sprint of today's wave. Who knows who would be so bold as to attack their mountain gate? He was immediately frightened. I thought his crime was exposed. What the hell? Come on, I'll show you how many eyes the Horse King has. The old man looked forward. There was a fluctuation of spirit qi there, as if something was about to appear. He took the initiative and punched him directly. Damn it, die for me. I hope you will be born into a better life in your next life and open your eyes. The old man said angrily. But before his attack arrived, he felt a overwhelming pressure coming towards him. What the hell? Boss. Misunderstanding, misunderstanding. The old man quickly withdrew his hand, but his punch was too fast. He couldn't pull his fist back, and his punch hit a hand that appeared. The old man only felt a piercing pain and his arm broke into pieces. He even vomited 3 mouthfuls of blood and was blown hundreds of miles away, with no one knowing whether he was alive or dead. If you attack this emperor by surprise, you will die. A cold voice was heard, and the big hand moved away. After a moment, the space was torn apart again, and a white-browed Taoist walked out. With a single move of his hand, he grabbed the body of the old man in the realm of asking for knowledge. The white-browed Taoist frowned and snorted coldly. Then he chased in the direction where the big hand disappeared. Thousands of miles ahead, Li Qingxing's forward momentum came to an abrupt halt. A pair of large hands appeared beside him. Okay, your mission is completed. I hope you can give me a surprise next time. Li Yun's faint voice sounded. Then he flicked his index finger, and Li Qingxing's body was blown away without a trace, and no one knew where he went. The next moment, the space was torn apart. A white-browed Taoist walked out, and the space within a radius of 10,000 miles was suddenly confined. At the same time, a huge voice sounded in the sky. You have committed unprovoked killings in my Baozhou territory. Do you want to give me an explanation? Chapter 98. Bloodbath of White Eyebrow Saint, Saint King appears. You have committed unprovoked killings in my Baozhou territory. Do you want to give me an explanation? As the voice of the White Eyebrow Taoist fell, a shadow also appeared behind the big hand in the sky. Anyone who tries to stop me from arresting a wanted criminal will be punished by death. A majestic voice also sounded. His momentum was not inferior to that of the white-browed Taoist. The white-browed Taoist frowned. I originally thought it was just a semi-saint at most. But now it looks like it might also be a saint realm. Otherwise, how could you dare to speak so nonsense in front of me? A figure suddenly flashed through Beimei's mind. A month ago, the eldest princess of the Shenfeng dynasty broke her arm in Qingzhou. It is said that the person who made the move was a strange saint realm, and he didn't even show his face. But it is widely known that it comes from Great Qian. And the person in front of me might also be a strange saint realm. He even calls himself the emperor. Could it be related to Great Qian? Or is it the lord of Great Qian? Are you the one who took action in Qingzhou a month ago? The white-browed Taoist asked cautiously. He had no choice but to be cautious. He is ready. As long as the person opposite nodded, he would slip away immediately. He knew the strength of the Princess Shenfeng, who had already reached the saint late stage. She was definitely not comparable to someone like him who was at the saint early stage. Even she had her arm cut off. If it were me, I would probably be chopped into meat sauce, right? You have already become a saint, yet you are still talking so much nonsense. If you want to know the answer, you must defeat this emperor first. Li Yun said impatiently. There was only one saint at the initial stage, which made him somewhat dissatisfied. I wouldn't accidentally kill him, would I? When Bai Mei heard the other party's words, his face darkened. No one had ever spoken to him like this since he was sanctified. Sir, please don't make the mistake. You must know that this is the territory of our Shungshan sect. If the white-browed Taoist was interrupted by Li Yun before he could finish his cold words. Noisy. Then, a hand clenched in the sky, and the index finger stretched out, pointing towards the white-browed Taoist. Divine ability. Heaven-trapping finger. A streak of light flashed by, instantly cutting through the space and poking at the white-browed Taoist. When approaching Beimei, the light scattered and formed a spirit chi net, wrapping Beimei Dower in it. The white-browed Taoist was suddenly shocked. He never expected that the man opposite him would be so desperate as to fight him to the death. What he didn't expect was that the opponent's casual attack could be so powerful. This move is no weaker than Saint Realm's attack. It seems that the other party is indeed Saint Realm. The moment the spirit chi net was covering him, the white-browed Taoist snorted coldly, his eyes flashed with cold light, and the spirit chi in his body surged, like a volcanic eruption, bombarding the spirit net. Bang! The two powerful energies collided with each other, creating a deafening sound. Not good. The white-browed Taoist was horrified. He suddenly discovered that his counterattack seemed to have no effect on the spiritual net, but instead made it shrink faster. What the hell is this divine ability? The white-browed Taoist looked grim. It seemed that the spirit chi net was about to imprison him. At this moment, a golden bead suddenly popped out of the mouth of the white-browed Taoist. As soon as the golden bead appeared, it burst out with dazzling light, covering the spirit chi network. There was a loud bang, and the spirit chi net exploded, turning into starlight and disappearing. The white-browed Taoist also took this opportunity to retreat violently. Li Yun shook his head slightly. After all, the opponent was saint, and he didn't expect to win with this trick. A long sword as thin as a cicada's wing appeared in his hand. 9 winding golden dragons are engraved on it. 9 dragon sword. However, the 9 dragon sword, which was originally only a high-level Dao weapon, has now reached the standard of a low-level saint weapon. Sword 1, Dragon Sword Style. Li Yun swung his sword and a dragon-shaped sword energy slashed forward. This is no ordinary sword move. Instead, it is the level-free divine ability obtained by signing in the 8 styles of the Imperial sword. There are 8 sword moves in total. One sword is stronger than another. Beimei, whose figure had already moved away for a certain distance, did not forget to pay attention to the movements behind him. When he saw the 9 dragon sword appear, he felt panic in his heart. This is obviously a saint weapon. It's not like the Shungshan sect doesn't have saint weapon. But it's not much. There is no place for him at all. The bead he spat out just now was the highest level weapon among his. It is considered a semi-saint device. Or it was the reward for his hard work in the Shungshan sect for many years. When he saw a dragon-shaped sword energy coming towards him, he could no longer bear it. This swordsmanship doesn't look simple at first glance. The speed of the sword energy was much faster than his retreat speed. He didn't dare retreat anymore. He turned around suddenly, and a huge amount of spiritual power dissipated. Wind field, condense. An enormous vortex suddenly formed around him, covering the entire area within 1,000 miles around him and isolating him from this world. This is his saint realm. It can cover a radius of thousands of miles, doubling the strength within the area. Afterwards, countless extremely sharp wind blades appeared in the entire space, carrying violent airflow and destructive power, sweeping towards the winding dragon-shaped sword energy. Boom! Countless voices rang out. Where the sword energy and wind blade came into contact, cracks appeared one after another. Immediately, cracks appeared in the entire space, as if it was torn apart. Roar! The dragon-shaped sword energy seemed to sense the threat as well, and it immediately let out a roar. Then, an even more powerful force burst out from it. It dispersed into countless tiny sword auras, shattering all the wind blades that were sweeping over. However, the sword energy in the sky was gradually weakened in the constant collisions until it dissipated. Sword 2, Thunder Sword Style. Before the white-browed Taoist could breathe a sigh of relief, another cold voice resounded through the world. In his realm of wind, endless thunder power surged and instantly transformed into a giant beast that could cover the sky and the sun. It roared to the sky and pounced towards him. Boom boom boom. A loud noise was heard, and endless power of thunder and lightning exploded wildly within his wind domain. Bang! The wind field covering thousands of miles was on the verge of collapse under this violent impact. Damn it! The white-browed Taoist cursed angrily with a pale face. So far, the other party has not even used the power of the domain. But when the sword was swung out, the power of the thunder rules it triggered made even his wind field unable to withstand it. What the hell kind of rules did this guy understand? Sword 3, Sword Destruction Style. An aura of destruction spread out. A flash of black light burst out from the wind realm, instantly tearing a hole in the wind realm. The wind domain was shattered in an instant. The figures of the two people appeared again between heaven and earth. The white-browed Taoist's robe was torn, his hair was disheveled, blood was oozing from his mouth, his breath was weak, and he looked extremely miserable. His domain was broken, and his saint realm cultivation dropped by half instantly. It would take a while for him to recover. Sword 4, Killing Sword Style. The nightmare-like voice rang in the ears of the white-browed Taoist again. As the sword was drawn, murderous intent filled the air, and half of the sky was dyed blood red. Sir, please forgive others when you can. Bai Mei's cultivation has fallen, and it will be difficult for him to recover within 100 years. How about giving him a chance to live? When the sword fell, a flame suddenly appeared between heaven and earth, and the scorching temperature burned away all the murderous intent in the sky. What followed was a gentle word. Saint King. Li Yun raised his eyebrows. Chapter 99, Saint King of Lihuo, Eastern Wilderness Ceiling. Li Yun was not very surprised by the appearance of Saint King realm. Surprisingly, this powerful Saint King had no intention of attacking him. Instead, choose to keep quiet. You know, in the Eastern Wilderness, the Saint King realm is the absolute ceiling level. The 5th Kangshung also said this a few days ago. In today's Four Extremities continent, Eastern Wilderness, top combat power is the worst. The Saint King realm is the pinnacle. And all this is because of the first god born in the Eastern Wilderness. That is the owner of the small tower. At that time, there was no heaven in the Four Extremities. When he became a god, he consumed a lot of the world's origin of the Four Extremities continent. Especially the Eastern Wilderness. If the way of heaven still existed, it would naturally be able to make up for these losses. Even if the heavenly Tao is no longer there, with the passage of time, the circulation among the four realms will also gradually make up for the loss of the origin. However, 100,000 years ago, the Four Extremities split. The recovery of the Eastern Wilderness came to an abrupt halt. The Saint King realm is the pinnacle that many practitioners can reach. Even the most talented person cannot break this shackles. Therefore, a Saint King realm has already stood at the top of the pyramid of Eastern Wilderness. Only these transcendent level forces can have such foundation. For example, the Li family in Guzhou once had two Saint Kings, but unfortunately both of their veins were sucked into the small tower and could not be spit out. Your Excellency seems not prepared to give this Saint King this face. Seeing that Li Yun had not responded yet, the other party spoke again. Then a figure appeared in this world. This man had a sturdy build, long hair draped over his shoulders, and wore a dark red robe. A burning spiritual energy surged around him, making him look like a burning flame. Saint King of Fire. The supreme ruler of Shungshan sect. It has not appeared in the world for thousands of years, but today it appears again in the world. Even if a Saint King realm expert did not make any move but just stood there, the surrounding space would continue to distort, filling it with explosive and destructive power. Li Yun only felt a burning sensation coming towards him. He felt a lot of pressure. The Saint King realm is 3 major realms higher than his, and this clone alone is no match for the Saint King realm. Moreover, this Lihuo Saint King has strong combat power and a deep understanding of the fire rules. Controlling the 9 yang fire, you can burn everything in the world. Take my 2 swords, and let the offense to this emperor be forgiven. Li Yun said calmly. Then, without caring whether the other party agreed or not, he directly swung out with both swords. Sword 5, Soul Sword Style. Sword 6, Robbery Sword Style. The combination of the 2 swords did not create any earth-shattering power. It was as if he was just swinging 2 swords for fun. But the expression of Saint King Lihuo on the opposite side suddenly became serious. He felt a terrifying attack from 2 auras heading straight for his soul. Although it would not cause him much harm, he did not dare to underestimate it. Yes, these 2 sword moves are soul attacks. Capture souls with swords and bring down disasters on behalf of heaven. Saint King Lihuo took it very seriously. It was the first time he encountered a sword attack that directly struck the soul. But it's not impossible to cope with. Lihuo's Saint King snorted coldly, formed seals with his hands, and a layer of blazing flames gushed out from his body, wrapping him up. His 9 yang fire not only has extremely high physical damage, but also has super strong defense. No matter how powerful the opponent's soul attack is, it cannot break his fire shield. Bang! Bang! The 2 invisible swords collided with the flame shield, and suddenly there was a loud sound of metal clashing. Li Yun's 2 attacks did not break through Lihuo's Saint King's defense. Li Yun was not surprised by this result. It would be amazing if we could really break his defense. Let it go this time. Next time, I will not hold back. Li Yun left a word and disappeared into the sky. Lihuo's Saint King moved his right hand slightly, and a spark of fire disappeared into the void, tracking in the direction Li Yun left. However, after a moment, Li Huo's Saint King felt that the aura he left behind was wiped out. Obviously discovered by the other party. Li Huo's Saint King snorted coldly, waved his hand, and took the weak white-browed Taoist away from the devastated land. Half an hour after they left, only a group of spectators dared to appear here to observe the battlefield where the Saint Realms clashed. 3 Martial Marquis from the Divine Phoenix dynasty also appeared in the crowd, looking solemnly at the devastated battlefield. In the 18 states of Shenfeng, there has not been a battle on Saint Realm for many years. And now, in less than a month, 2 incidents have already occurred. The first game ended with the severed arm of Saint Realm of Shenfeng. And this time, a Saint Realm was almost killed. If it weren't for the appearance of Li Huo's Saint King, a Saint Realm would have died today. Hey, who do you think that giant hand is? How could it fight against Saint? Needless to say, anyone who can fight with a Saint must be from the Saint Realm. This is not something that small fry like us can comment on. We should hurry up and see if we can gain some insights. Fighting with a Saint Realm is something that only happens once in 1,000 years. Just comprehend it here by yourself. Don't let yourself get stuffed to death. I think I saw the Saint of Shungshan sect was injured just now. Go and see if you can pick up a few drops of holy blood. If you can pick up even one, you will be rich. Many practitioners were either busy comprehending the fluctuations of rules left behind by the fight between the Saint Realms, or searching for the holy blood. Martial Marquis, do you have any guesses about the owner of the giant hand? Suddenly, the young man in black clothes beside Martial Marquis said. Martial Marquis's eyes narrowed, then he shook his head. Your Highness, I have never heard of such a Saint Realm in the Eastern Wilderness. At least, the 6 major clans and the 2 great dynasties do not have it. Let's not talk about the great principal heavenly palace for now. Many transcendent level forces, including the Saint Realms of the 2 great dynasties, are well known to everyone. Even if there are hidden saints, they can only be counted on one hand. However, there may be such strong people in the demon state and ghost state, and there are also a few among the independent cultivators, but I can't find any reason for them to provoke the Shungshan sect. The young man in black suddenly chuckled. Martial Marquis, have you forgotten the one who attacked King Zhou? Aunt Yan even had her arm broken by him. It's possible that he attacked again. The Martial Marquis sighed. How could he not have thought of that? It's just that he doesn't want to think about that. If the mysterious Great Qian produced 1 or 2 Saint Realms, it would be acceptable. Even if there are a few more, it will still not have much impact on the pattern of the Eastern Wilderness. But if there is one more Saint King level fighter, it will be a different situation. The Saint King realm is the ceiling of Eastern Wilderness's combat power. One person can push an entire force to the top of the Eastern Wilderness's pyramid. There is a reason why among the Eastern Wilderness states, there is only one sacred land, 6 major sects, 2 dynasties, as well as the ghost state and the monster state, which are transcendent level forces. Because only these forces have the true Saint King, a person who can truly rule a sect. Okay, let's send the news back to the capital first and see what His Majesty and the saints have to say. Now that the Holy Heaven sect is about to hold the Dragon Gate conference, this person is targeting the Holy Heaven sect, it must be a target. I am worried that something will happen at Dragon Gate this time. Martial Marquis said in a deep voice. The young man in black nodded. Then he comforted her, Martial Marquis, don't worry too much. This may not be a bad thing for us Shenfeng. Anyway, we will attack Shungshan sect sooner or later, so it's not a bad idea for someone to take the lead and test Shungshan sect. I hope so. Chapter 100. Eastern Wilderness Saint King Realm Expert, Life and Death Pavilion appears in Changning. Yin Yang Sect. Although most of the day has passed. But Li Yun had not returned yet, and none of the elders dared to leave, and they were all waiting in the square. The abandoned Shuiyu Saintess was also taken down and knelt on the side. Without the protection of Li Qingxing and Sha Bai, she, who is only at the void refining level, certainly can't make any waves. At this moment, she still hasn't figured out why the situation suddenly reversed. The space cracked and Li Yun appeared. Many elders were prostrating themselves on the ground, not daring to even breathe. Let everything remain the same. Li Yun said and then disappeared. He didn't even look at Shuiyu who was kneeling beside him. Great Qian, the Imperial Palace. The 5th living being of Xuantian Dao Pavilion. A majestic voice came from the Imperial Palace. Soon, the 5th person appeared in the palace. Greetings, Your Majesty. The 5th person came in and bowed slightly. Excuse me, but do you know why I want to see you? Li Yun asked. The 5th person glanced at Li Yun and answered without thinking. In Baozhou, a battle of Saint Realm took place, and even a Saint King showed up. Your Majesty also had some Saint Realm aura on him. I guess that's why Your Majesty summoned me. You can feel the battle in Baozhou Saint Realm without leaving Qiandu City. Li Yun asked. He remembered that the 5th Kangsheng once said that as the heavenly Tao, he could sense the feelings of all creatures on the 4 extremities continent. But now he has not yet grasped the authority of the heavenly Tao, although he can occupy the soul of any ordinary person and transform himself into a living being. But this won't work for successful practitioners. This is even worse for those who have broken through the Saint Realm. If you try to spy forcibly, you may suffer backlash. Saint Realm can already control the rules of heaven and earth, so he can certainly feel something. Li Yun nodded appreciatively. It seems that the way of heaven is still quite capable. You once said that the ceiling of Eastern Wilderness is the Saint King Realm. Can you sense how many Saint King realms there are in Eastern Wilderness today? Li Yun asked again. Upon hearing this, the fifth Kangsheng nodded slightly. I can sense that there are only 14, but there should be more than 14. Li Yun frowned. What do you mean? There are things you can't sense. The fifth person gave a bitter smile. Even if I become the heavenly Tao, I don't know everything about the Four Extremities continent. For example, there is a divine weapon in the Great Qian territory now. I can only sense it, but I can't find its location. The same goes for Eastern Wilderness. There are many ways to block the perception of the heavenly Tao. Besides, I am not the heavenly Tao. Li Yun nodded thoughtfully. After all, the way of heaven is not omnipotent. They will also die, and of course there will be things they don't know. The divine weapon in Great Qian that he mentioned should be the small tower. He knew that there were 2 more Saint Kings in the small tower. There may also be similar methods in the Eastern Wilderness that can block the perception of the heavenly Tao. Of course, it is also inseparable from God. Only those who are above the divine realm can wield such great power. In the Eastern Wilderness, it is probably only the mysterious Great Principal sect. However, I didn't expect that in Eastern Wilderness, apart from the Great Principal Tien sect, there were only 10 transcendent level forces, but 14 Saint Kings. It seems that they are hiding quite deeply. 2 months later, I will arrive in the Eastern Wilderness, and then I will find out your backgrounds one by one. After this attack, he had a clear understanding of his own strength. Although he is only in the middle stage of peeping, his real combat power should be unrivaled in the Saint Realm. First of all, his great Tao sacred body greatly increases his combat power. The most outstanding point of Saint Realm compared to Tao Realm is the understanding of rules. Form your own territory. Under the influence of the power of the domain, ordinary people in the Tao Realm have no room to fight back. Even if there is, the combat power has been weakened by at least 50%. My strength has doubled. With one side gaining strength while the other side losing strength, how can we not win? However, his great Tao sacred body will not be affected by the rules of heaven and earth at all. He even knows all kinds of rules. If you want to defeat him, you need to show your hard power and crush him. But he not only has the great Tao sacred body. The skills he practices are also top-notch, his divine ability is also top-notch, and his weapons are even top-notch. Not to mention the Eastern Wilderness, even in the entire Four Extremities, it is estimated that no force has more saint weapons than he does. He is top-notch in everything and makes up for all his shortcomings perfectly. Coupled with his 1 chi transforms into 3 purities method, one person can have the fighting power of Saint Realm, 4 against 1, and can also fight against Saint King. After 2 months, I will be able to reach Tao Fusion Realm. If I am lucky, it is not impossible to advance 2 steps further. At that time, why should we fear Saint King? It depends on whether I hit you or not. You're done for. And Wuming, it's not too much to break through the Saint Realm in 2 months. It's not too much for one person to fight 7 or 8 saints. It wouldn't be too much to add a Saint King title to stimulate his potential. What Great Qian lacks now is the mid to high-end combat power in the Tao realm. The people below are still growing a little slowly. Unfortunately, although I have been using my time in the secret realm, blindly practicing hard cannot quickly increase my cultivation. What's even more regrettable is that I haven't signed in to get a character card for a long time. It all depends on whether I can get lucky in the last 2 months. Changning Empire, Lingzhou. This place borders on Baozhou of Shenfeng. Recently, a killer organization suddenly became famous in Lingzhou. The cause was that a young master from a large family in Jincheng forcibly abducted a young girl. And after he d her, he didn't kill her but threw her out of the house. The woman was heartbroken and beat the drum in the city to protest her grievances. The woman was taken into the city lord's mansion, and no one knew what happened inside. But what the residents of the city knew was that the entire family of the woman was killed the next day. A notice was posted in the city, saying that the crime was committed by a wanted criminal from across the border, and the city lord's mansion has done its best to arrest the murderer. But anyone with a discerning eye can see it. There is no wanted criminal. It's just the thief crying, "Stop thief." This is not the first time this has happened. From then on, there was a crazy girl in Jincheng. Wandering in the streets, without clothes to wear and without food to eat. Although everyone knew the truth, no one dared to lend a helping hand. There has never been any fairness or justice in this world. The strong are the masters of everything. They just want to survive. Until a beautiful woman appeared in Jincheng. She gave the girl a steamed bun and the girl smiled back at her. That night, all 387 members of that big family died. There was no sound at all throughout the night. The next day, the mayor of Jincheng came to the scene and was furious. Because his own sister also died in this disaster. People from the city lord's mansion found a black note in a pool of blood. While everyone was still in doubt and wondering about the origin of the black note, another black note floated down from the sky and landed above the city lord. The city lord took the white card in his hand, and there was actually his name written on it, as well as a big word, death. At the same time, a flash of inspiration came into his mind. He seemed to be somewhat familiar with this thing. It seems like I've heard of it somewhere. Great. Adults. Isn't this the life and death post from the life and death pavilion that came from the divine Phoenix dynasty? He was suddenly awakened by the trembling words of one of his men. Then his face turned pale and his calves began to tremble. His upper and lower lips kept trembling. Life and death post. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.